Florida Gators have turned college football into dangerous waters. Even Steve Spurrier is amazed at how his Gators feed on opponents. But there's no secret. Led by Heisman Trophy candidate Danny Werfel, they're the most explosive team in the land. And with 4 games remaining, they're focused as their leader has pointed them towards the national championship. At times, it's been an ugly year for the Georgia Bulldogs. Jim Donnan has seen his team struggle to find their rhythm, but at times, they've transformed into a dangerous threat. It's Florida and Georgia next on CBS Sports. Jacksonville, Florida, where the fireworks began last night and the tailgating began early this morning. It's Georgia Florida Week, better known as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. For 92 years, this has been one of the most heated rivalries in college football. And after a 2-year hiatus, it's returned to Jacksonville. And there's no sitting on the fence. You're either a Gator fan or you pull for the Bulldogs. It's Florida and Georgia as the University of Florida 7-0 overall, 5-0 in the SEC, and ranked number 1 in the nation. Here come the Gators. They've won 20 straight regular season games, 18 straight in the SEC. Georgia off to their worst start since 1993, but because of the magnitude of this game, the Bulldogs plan on leaving everything on the football field. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson along with Terry Donahue, and welcome to Jacksonville, where we've got a great college football rivalry for you as Georgia takes on Florida. And the Florida Gators coming to this game ranked number 1 in the nation. They're also coming off a bye after dismantling Auburn and playing this Georgia team. How do they get up for this game?
Well, the bye will help Florida. They're going to come into the game fresh, mentally and physically, and the atmosphere here in Jacksonville also will help them. Steve Spurrier described it as a championship environment. Georgia is their biggest rival. They will be ready mentally to play this game.
And for Florida, the numbers are simply staggering. They average 52 points per game, 532 yards in total offense per game. But today, they'll be playing without one of their premier players. That's because wide receiver Ike Hilliard has been suspended for this game by the athletic department for failure to go to class. Also, they've had some problems on the defensive line with injuries. How's that going to hurt this team?
No question they're going to miss Ike Hilliard. He's one of the best wide receivers in the whole country. But the man who runs the Florida offense is Danny Werfel. He has a slew of wide receivers to throw the ball to. But Florida has some serious problems on defense. 3 out of the top 4 defensive linemen are out of the game. That gives Georgia an opportunity to run the ball. If they can run the ball, keep the Florida offense off the field, perhaps they can pull an upset here.
Jim Donnan, they're 3-4, 2-3 in the SEC, and they're coming off, Terry, a very disappointing loss to Kentucky in a game in which they turned the ball over 4 times, resulting in 14 Wildcat points, and they're struggling a little bit right now.
No question. Bobo, the quarterback, Edwards, the tailback, have not had the kind of years anticipated for them, but they have a star in Hines Ward. Maybe the most versatile player in the country. He plays wide receiver, running back, quarterback, kick returner. Look for him everywhere today. He's got to come up big for Georgia to have a chance in this game.
Now, the third member of our team is Michelle Tafoya, and let's join her right now on the sideline.
All right, Gus. Well, Georgia's Hines Ward plays 3 positions on offense, as Terry just mentioned, but Florida will have a player out here today who will also be doing something that's a little unusual in the college ranks these days. Sophomore Terry Jackson is a running back, but he spent a good portion of his week lining up at the linebacker position during practice. With linebacker Javon Kearse out with a broken hand, Bob Stoops, the defensive coordinator, convinced Steve Spurrier to let Jackson play both sides of the ball. So Spurrier has said he can't remember ever having a player play offense and defense for him in the same game. So we may see another first in the Spurrier area. And by the way, guys, we're now just starting to see rain. We haven't seen it all morning, but it's starting to come down pretty good here, Gus.
And thank you very much, Michelle. So far, things are working in the favor of the Georgia Bulldogs. With the rain coming down, hopefully that will slow up the Florida offense for them. The series note There is a discrepancy, 44, 28, and 2, according to Georgia. However, Florida says that in 1904, they did not recognize their football team because they had not officially moved to Gainesville. So it runs deep here between these two teams, Florida and Georgia, and we're all set to kick off from the Jacksonville Municipal Stadium. Our temperature, 73 degrees, a 10-mile-per-hour wind with a 30% chance of rain.
Gus, once that rain starts coming down, as it is right now, anything can happen in a football game. Things change. All of a sudden, the snap from the center to the quarterback, the kicking game, all those things come into effect.
So Florida will receive the football first. Jacquez Green, averaging 25 yards per return on the season on one side, and the other very dangerous return man, Riedel Anthony, averaging 18.8 yards per return. And Dax Langley does the kicking off for the Georgia Bulldogs. The Gators, well, they've won 6 straight against Georgia, trying to tie a record in this series with their 7th straight. And we're underway from Jacksonville. And this ball kicked out of the end zone, and the Florida Gators will start from their own 20-yard line. And it does not take the Gators long to score. They have scored on all 7 of their first possessions this season, the longest taking 3 minutes against Tennessee.
They average about 2 minutes and 1 second per drive. I've never seen a football team take the ball 7 consecutive games on the opening drive and score. Florida is the only team I've ever observed do that.
Danny Werfel is their quarterback, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's 28-4-1 as a starter and 23-1 as a starter in the SEC. First down and 10 from the 20-yard line out of the I formation for the Gators. And on first down, Werfel deciding to pass. He'll step up in the pocket, get rid of it. That's Elijah Williams at the 40-yard line, and he'll be dragged down from behind. Corey Johnson with the tackle, a gain of 24 yards. And Florida offensively, Elijah Williams, he's rushed for 2 straight 100-yard games, along with Anthony and Green at wide receiver in place of Hilliard. Meanwhile, up front, Jeff Mitchell, an All-American candidate, also an All-SEC performer. He is the anchor on the offensive line for the Gators. So a 24-yard gain on first down. And the rain starting to come down here at the beginning of this contest in Jacksonville. And right now we're having some technical problems with the clock. Jacksonville Municipal Stadium, formerly known as the Gator Bowl, and it has been renovated for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the National Football League. And talking to Steve Spurrier earlier during the week, Terry, he just told me that he was really excited about getting back down here. He told us, for that matter, that he was really excited about getting down here, and despite the records, you kind of throw all of those away when these two teams meet on the football field.
Well, Steve calls this the new Gator Bowl. It's Municipal Stadium, but he likes to call it the new Gator Bowl after the renovation. No question about it. This game has such a tremendous tradition. Steve Spurrier was part of that tradition as a player, as a coach. He's lived it. He knows the importance of the Florida-Georgia game.
Spurrier in his 7th season as the head coach, and he's done all kinds of great things at Florida. Finished each of the last 5 years in the top 10 nationally. And in 1993, this game was known as the Mud Bowl. Came down to the final play. Georgia with a chance to win it, but the pass was broken up in the end, and the Gators went on to a 33-26 victory. And the uniforms have a good chance, if the rain continues to fall, to look like that by the end of the day.
Players love that. They love to play in the mud and the rain and all that kind of stuff. They love it.
First down and 10 from the 44. Here's Riedel Anthony with the reception, and he'll get to midfield. Brandon Tolbert with the tackle for the Dogs. And defensively for Georgia, Jason Ferguson, Jermaine Smith, the defensive tackle and nose guard. They are the strong part of this defensive line. Greg Wright, the middle linebacker, leads the SEC in tackles with 102. And in the secondary, Corey Johnson is their leader, fundamentally the best athlete on this defensive unit. And a player shaken up right now. And that is their starting center, Jeff Mitchell, who we told you is the anchor of this offensive line.
Well, Jeff Mitchell not only is the anchor of the offensive line, but he is comfortable, and Danny Werfel is comfortable with him as their snapper.
No score right now as Florida with the ball at the 50-yard line. We'll be back right after this.
If you ever take your Pontiac Sunfire convertible cruising around some mystical ancient pyramids, hey, make sure you try out that one latch easy opening tongue. Because it's a cool new way to worship the sun. The new 1997 Pontiac Sunfire convertible. Finally, a real set of wheels you can really afford.
While everyone else is telling you which funds to buy,
Small cap funds. I'd be looking at the Pacific Rim.
here's a tip on how to buy them. Mutual Fund One Source from Charles Schwab. The funds you want in one place, all with no loads. If your fund doesn't say this, maybe you're making life too complicated. Call now for 6 months of our Mutual Fund Select list free.
There's a place in New York owned by the biggest sports stars around.
You know, I liked him with long hair.
And you never know when they'll show up.
Well, short.
It's the official All-Star Cafe,
Ken Griffey Jr., 301 lifetime average.
where the owners are always willing to help out.
Excuse me, it's 302.
So if you go, bring the right stats and the right card. Visa, because the All-Star doesn't take American Express.
301 lifetime average.
Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Christian Amanpour, welcome to 60 Minutes. Angela Lansbury, welcome back to Sunday Night. The reporter and the detective doing what they do best. Tonight on 60 Minutes.
And welcome back to Jacksonville, Florida with the football at midfield. Second down. And we had some problems with the clock early on. But it looks like they have gotten it together. Here's Werfel. Course to his right, fires, and it's complete. Reedell Anthony with the reception. Glenn Ford on the tackle.
Jeff Mitchell, the offensive center, is overpowered by Jermaine Smith, the big defensive tackle for Georgia. His left knee and ankle buckle underneath him. And he's going to be replaced by Wiley Rich, number 59, the new backup center. One of the things that Rich and Werfel have to make sure of is with this wet ball, they make sure that the center quarterback exchange is clean. It's always difficult when you have a new center, particularly hard when the ball is wet.
Wiley Rich, a junior out of Fort White, Florida, replaces Jeff Mitchell, the All-SEC performer a year ago, an academic All-American. First down and 10 from the 37. This is Elijah Williams going straight ahead, and he's tackled by Greg Wright. And let's check in down on the sidelines with our Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Gus. Well, Jeff Mitchell, the center, looks like he injured the left ankle. They're putting it right now in an air cast, and they're going to take him off the field and into the locker room for x-rays, suggesting that there may actually be a fracture down there in that left ankle. They're uncertain as to whether or not he'll return, Gus.
All right, Michelle, second down and 10 for the Gators on their first drive of the game. They've scored on 7 straight this season, their longest taking 3 minutes from the Georgia 37-yard line. And we get a whistle
Well, one of the problems that's happening right now, Danny Werfel is looking at the 25-second clock by the scoreboard, and the clock is really being kept by the official on the field.
Officials, time out.
Dick Burleson is your referee this afternoon. And the fans here in Jacksonville, everybody kind of chomping at the bit a little bit, ready to get this football game going. As you see the game clock and the play clock has gone down to 0.
What happened, the official on the field, his time expired on the 25-second clock, but the play clock had 2 seconds left.
And although we have an official's timeout, the game clock is still running. Maybe they are setting it.
Has now been repaired. It will be on 12:59.
So they are running it down to 12:59 right now. It's at 13:18 and counting. And Werfel with those 2 completions, he passes Shane Matthews as the all-time leading passer in Florida history at 9,303 yards. And he's still got plenty of time to add to those numbers. 4 more regular season games remaining. 2nd down and 10 now from the 37-yard line. Riedel Anthony, Jacquez Green split wide to the far side of the field. Travis McGriff, the receiver, on the near side, and Danny Werfel audibling at the line of scrimmage. Pump fakes over the middle, and it's complete. Jacquez Green with the reception, and he is nailed immediately by Corey Johnson.
Danny Werfel continues to amaze me. He sits on the field, checks plays off, and he goes ahead and finds open receivers. In this case, Jacquez Green runs an inside curl route. The ball is delivered on time. Good reception. Positive first down for Florida. And once again, they're on their way to a scoring opportunity on the first drive of the game.
17th catch of the year for Jacquez, averaging close to 18 yards per reception. Riedel Anthony in motion. Here's Werfel. Firing again down the seam, incomplete. Travis McGriff, the intended receiver, but that ball thrown into double coverage, and he could not come up with the catch. McGriff is the 4th receiver on this team, and with Hilliard's absence, he steps up and will get a whole lot more playing time.
That last play is an example where they will miss Ike Hilliard. He is a big-time, big-play receiver. Travis McGriff is not quite the same athlete.
Sophomore out of Gainesville. Here's Werfel throwing again, this time to the far side, incomplete. Elijah Williams, the intended receiver. Greg Bright covering for Georgia. And we talk a whole lot about the throwing and catching of this Florida team, but look at the balance in their offense, Terry.
Well, they are Steve Spurrier wants to be balanced. He runs the ball 48% of the time. People always think of him just as a passing coach, not necessarily so.
So that'll make it 3rd down and long from the 23-yard line. 3 receivers in the game. Here's Werfel under pressure, being chased. He'll step up into the end zone, and it's intercepted. Intercepted in the end zone by Ronald Bailey. And for the first time, the Florida Gators fail to score on their opening drive of the game. Could that be an omen?
I'll tell you one thing, not very often do you see Danny Werfel make a mistake and throw into coverage like that. He's only thrown 4 interceptions prior to this ball all year long, but he makes a definite bad decision here. It's just good coverage by Ronald Bailey, number 5 for Georgia. Werfel has time, eventually has to come out of the pocket. Here is where the indecision occurs. You can see all the receivers are covered. Excellent coverage by the Georgia secondary. Werfel throws the ball up for grabs. Psychologically, that's got to be a huge lift for Georgia, just to be the first team in 7 games that has not allowed them to score.
Illegal pass. Passer was beyond the line of scrimmage. The penalty is declined. First down.
So Danny Werfel throwing only his 5th interception of the season.
Danny Werfel right here. Once he's flushed out of the pocket, he's trying to find an open player, and he just gets over that line of scrimmage.
Jason Ferguson giving chase. The Dogs with the football at the 20-yard line when we get back.
Company, Xerox.
This is the Pontiac Bonneville, one of the world's most powerful sports sedans. The luxury of the driver's command center surrounds you with 12-way adjustable seats, steering wheel stereo controls, and a powerful supercharged engine. Order this free video information kit and see for yourself why J.D. Power & Associates rank Bonneville most appealing premium midsize car. Just call 1-800-443-4444.
Everyone hopes their financial future will be smooth sailing. What you need is MetLife. We know the hazards and offer financial information and sound advice to help you rise above them. We'll help you make sense of it all. Get Met. It pays.
There'll be no debate. NASCAR's Grand Nationals and Truck Series winners will settle it on the Speedway. A fast and furious fight to the finish at the season finales on CBS.
And welcome back to Jacksonville, first quarter. Mike Bobo and the Georgia offense have come onto the football field. He's struggled this season. 7 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. And on first down, they hand it to Robert Edwards. He cuts back and will get it over the 20-yard line up to the 23. Offensively for the Bulldogs, Hines Ward is their all-purpose guy. Expect to even see him play some quarterback this afternoon. And up front, their strength, the 2 tackles, Adam Meadows and Matt Stinchcomb. They consider him, Stinchcomb, one of the best in the SEC.
Played a great game when he faced Leonard Little of Tennessee, one of the best defensive linemen in the league.
Gain of 3 on the last play. 2nd down and 7 from the 24-yard line. Bobo back to throw, incomplete. Had a man wide open, Hines Ward, but he underthrew him. And defensively for Florida, Terry, this is where all the changes have occurred.
Everybody is new except Reggie McGrew on that line. The Georgia Bulldogs are going to test that line on the ground today.
Mike Peterson replaces Javon Kearse, who broke his hand against Auburn. And in the secondary, Jim Donnan calls Lawrence Wright a heat-seeking missile. That he is. All-SEC and 3rd-team All-American last season. 3rd down and 6. Delayed handoff and advancing the football up the field. Tackle made by Willie Rogers, and that is Selma Callaway, the fullback, only his 11th carry of the season. They gained 3 yards on the play, not enough to pick up the first down, so the punting unit comes on the field for Georgia. Dax Langley and Jacquez Green, a very dangerous return man. Returned 2 punts for touchdowns against Kentucky, a 66-yarder and a 79-yarder. This one a good, very good punt, sending Green back to the 17-yard line. Big hole up the middle. Here's Green at the 40, tries to split through, and he'll get inside Georgia territory at the 48-yard line.
Every time you kick the ball to Jaquez Green, you've got some trouble. The punt was a huge punt. It just out-kicked the coverage. He had plenty of time to field the ball and start it upfield. And sure enough, just as the kicking game will turn the game around faster than any play in football, a punt return, kickoff return, that's what Florida wanted to get established today in the kicking area, a big play, and they got it right there from Jacquez Green.
Green averaging close to 16 yards per return on the year. First down at 10 from the 48 for the Gators. Play action. Werfel setting up. Flushed out of the pocket. Got rid of it. Complete. That's Terry Jackson with the reception, and he'll get deep into Georgia territory. Gain of 43 yards.
Well, as Michelle reported, Terry Jackson not only plays defense, offense as well. This may be the most versatile player on Florida's team. He plays fullback, tailback, linebacker. And again, Danny Werfel is the guy that can make these kind of plays for you. This is why Florida is the best team in the country right now. Scrambles out of the pocket, finds Jackson. Ball is where it needs to be. Big play. And Danny Werfel has said many times he doesn't mind taking a hit as long as he gets a completion.
First down, goal to goal from the 5-yard line. They stay on the ground. This time it's Fred Taylor churning his way forward. Met by Jason Ferguson on the play. And he'll get down to the 2-yard line. And inside the 20, it's almost a layup for this Florida offense.
Well, anytime you're inside the 20 and 79% of the time you score a touchdown, you're putting points on the board in a hurry.
Second down, goal to goal from the 2. Florida failing to score on their first offensive possession for the first time in 7 games, but here on their second, they are knocking on the door. Second down, goal to goal. They pitch it. This is Taylor, touchdown. Fred Taylor with the 2-yard touchdown, and Florida takes a 6-0 lead.
It doesn't matter who's playing tailback for Florida. Elijah Williams, Terry Jackson, Fred Taylor, they're all capable of putting the ball in the end zone. On the sweep, it's a huge hole for Fred Taylor to walk through.
Fred Taylor has rushed for 100 yards the past 2 games. He had 107 yards against LSU on 16 carries and 110 yards against Auburn. And Bart Edmondson adds the extra point. 9:19 to go. Florida on the scoreboard, 7-0.
The engineers at the Pontiac Grand Am design cars for people who get a kick out of driving, complete with a powertrain built to precise aerospace tolerances. And that's kept more Grand Ams tearing along even after 11 years than any car in its class. So buy a Grand Am for a good time. Have it around for a good long time. Grand Am. Built for kicks, built for keeps. Starting around 15.2.
I'm not everyone. I'm me. So when I decided to quit smoking, I did not choose that one-size-fits-all patch. I chose Nicorette gum. Nicorette has this flexible dosing schedule that helped me control my cravings. It let me use the strength I needed, the amount I needed when I needed it. Nicorette was personal. It fit me. You know, me the non-smoker. Me.
Nicorette gum will help you quit smoking successfully by helping you control your cravings. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
The road, it's where I go to be myself and find myself. That might be Boston one day and Beijing the next. Northwest gets me to all the places I need to go, and they understand how to take care of me. My chair is the most important thing to me, and if it's not working right, then I can't be my best. Northwest is part of my team. Deanna, they say to me, some people just know how to fly. Go fly.
The nanny takes it on the chin with...
Say, Leno! How do you get your hair so big?
All new nanny, CBS Wednesday.
Ah.
Watch the left guard, Ryan Kalich, number 51. He has the key block on the linebacker, along with the tight end, number 91, Tremaine Allen. They open up this gaping hole in the Georgia defense that allows Fred Taylor to walk into the end zone.
Fred Taylor, a sophomore out of Belgrade, Florida.
Anybody that doesn't think that Florida can run the ball, that play will open their eyes for him.
Sent away, Hines Ward will down it in the end zone, and the Bulldogs will start from the 20-yard line again. So the Florida offense putting points on the board with 9:19 to go in the first quarter play. They come into this game, speaking of their rushing abilities, averaging, Terry, 196 yards rushing per contest.
Well, the Florida offense attacks you in so many different ways. It's hard to get a hold of it. But now Florida's got to play some defense, and Mike Bobo has got to heat it up for Georgia on offense.
From the 20. They run the reverse. This is Ward trying to get around the corner on the near side, but he's ushered out of bounds by Shea Showers, and he may not pick up any yards on the play. Looks like he'll stay at the 20, and let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Gus. Well, those who are really perceptive will notice that Steve Spurrier has actually changed his cap. He has not had reason to throw his hat in a long, long time, but after Danny Wuerffel threw that interception, he threw down a blue cap, which he was wearing, and he had to ask one of his assistants to go get him one of his familiar visors, and that's what he's wearing now, guys.
Ah, so the coach is a little superstitious. And a flag has been thrown on the play on 2nd down and 10 for Georgia.
Steve Spurrier made the comment this week that
dead ball foul, false start on the offensive line. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
Spurrier said this week that our players are almost playing too good right now. You know, and he was concerned about how they will handle the success that they're having, being rated the #1 team in the country and all the publicity and notoriety that comes with it.
Coach Spurrier joins Bear Bryant as only the 2nd SEC coach to win 3 straight outright titles. Bear Bryant won 5. 2nd down and a long 15. They load up the far side of the field with 3 receivers. Hines Ward in at quarterback, and he's chopped down in the backfield. Mike Moten, the junior out of Daytona Beach, was there to chop him down.
One of the things that Jim Donnan, the head coach at Georgia, wants to do is put Hines Ward at quarterback, spread the field with no backs, try to thin out that Florida defense, and then let Hines Ward run the ball or throw it. In this particular case, he slipped down. There wasn't really a great hole to run through, but this is going to be part of the Georgia attack today.
Mike Moten replaces Ed Chester at tackle. 3rd down at 17. Here's Bobo cocking, firing, intercepted. Tony George, a sophomore cornerback out of Cincinnati, comes up with his first interception of the season. The 15th interception thrown by Mike Bobo on the season.
Georgia has had difficulty, and certainly Mike Bobo, the returning quarterback, has had a hard time this season with interceptions. Interceptions have disrupted Georgia throughout the entire year. This is just another example of where Mike Bobo throws into coverage. He just isn't open. You can't let that ball go.
So the Gators get the ball back on the Georgia 20. Tony George, one of the top special teams players on this squad, as we have a timeout on the field, has earned playing time because of his special teams ability. And we will be back after this.
Dear Mom, camp is rough. Being out in the wild sure makes a kid hungry. But the sandwiches we got just aren't enough. It makes me homesick for you and a hot bowl of Campbell's tomato soup.
Nothing turns an ordinary sandwich into a hot, satisfying meal like rich, wholesome Campbell's tomato soup.
Mom?
I brought you something for those sandwiches.
Wow, tomato soup. You're the best, Mom.
Campbell's makes everything.
Better.
Hey, the Econo Lodge Senior Room has just what older travelers want. Brighter lighting. Look, still soft and beautiful. Bigger numbers on the phone and TV remote. Time for fly fishing. And an in-room coffee maker.
Spend a night, not a fortune, at Econo Lodge. Call 1-800-55-ECONO and you can save 30%.
You drink about, just drink that. And you'd be surprised. Your eyes, begin to...
Craig Lambert isn't too worried about how to invest for Zach's college education. That's because he works with a broker from Dean Witter. Together, they developed a long-term investment plan to help take Zach wherever he wants to go.
Clients feel most comfortable with our ability to see things from their perspective.
Now, when Craig looks into his son's eyes, he can see the future and smile. Dean Witter.
We measure success one investor at a time.
This week on Dave, Mel Gibson, Christine Lottie, Marissa Tomei, John Michael Montgomery, Brett Butler, and Friday from D.C., Ted Koppel and Mary Chapin Carpenter. This week on CBS.
8:26 to go in the first quarter play. Mike Bobo throwing his 15th interception of the season. They fumbled the ball 8 times as a group, and turnovers the big story for Georgia. Here's Werfel over the middle. Touchdown! Riedel Anthony, 21 yards. And it does not take them long.
Danny Werfel is the most accurate thrower in the history of the NCAA. He's able to put the ball in the right spots constantly for the Florida Gators. This is what makes him such a great player. Riedel Anthony, number 15, it's its 11th touchdown pass of the season.
Riedel Anthony, a junior out of South Bay, Florida. One of the top receivers in the SEC. The extra point block. Looks like Champ Bailey may have gotten a hand on it. Nevertheless, the Gators with a 13-0 lead in the first quarter.
I'll buy 10 of these. You're Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders? It's him. You're the greatest, man. Mind if I get a picture? Thanks, bro. You mind if I write a check? Sure, Deion. I'm just gonna need to see some ID. Say what? Yes, like a driver's license, a library card.
Checks. What a pain.
Fishing license? Employee ID.
But now there's a better way. The Visa Check Card. It's an ATM card with a Visa logo that deducts from your checking account automatically everywhere Visa's accepted.
I'm gonna have to call to see if you can cover this.
The Visa Check Card works just like a check, only better.
Jesse, you're next.
I'm all yours.
Save it for the stage, Romeo.
Carol always gives it to me straight. Like when she told me about my...
I told him about Head & Shoulders. Regular shampoos just rinse flakes away so they could come back. Head & Shoulders helps prevent flakes from even forming. You see the difference? You look great.
Thanks, but will it get me this part?
Couldn't hurt.
Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes.
Hey, break a leg.
8:19 to go in the first quarter. Florida already up 13-0, and they come into this game outscoring opponents 90-14 in the first quarter of play. This will be Patrick Pass from his own 8-yard line, advancing it up to the 22. Xavier McCray with the special teams tackle for Florida.
This is a favorite Florida formation. This is called Emery and Henry formation. Florida spreads the field totally across the width of the field, and they isolate Riedel Anthony inside. It's a little trick formation that drives defensive coaches crazy.
First down, they pitch it to Edwards, trying to get around the corner, and does. And he's finally knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Robert Edwards picking up 10 yards. Fred Weary with the stop for Florida.
Watch the Florida formation. We have 3 players to the wide side of the left field, 3 to the right side, only 1 remaining back. Totally spreads out the Georgia defense. You can watch the players. It's a great little trick play. It's something that Steve Spurrier carries in his back pocket for every game, forces people to get ready for it each week.
First down to 10 from the 33-yard line, and a fumble on the play. And Georgia will hang on to it.
When you start playing with a wet ball, even though it isn't raining right this second, when the ball is wet, it sometimes just doesn't stick to those players' fingers the way you want it to. That happens all the time in football, and certainly in that case, Jim Dunnan can't be very happy with the way things have gone thus far for Georgia.
That'll make it second down and 11 from the 32 for the Bulldogs. They pitch it. This is Edwards picking his way and is ushered out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Lawrence Wright, the strong safety there to knock him out of bounds. And Coach Jim Donnan in his first year spent 1990 through 1995 at Marshall, where he won a AA national championship in 1992. And you're very familiar with Coach Jim Donnan?
Well, I sure am. In 1985, Barry Switzer called me about a quarterback that was transferring from Oklahoma. His name was Troy Aikman. And I talked to Barry Switzer and Jim Donnan, who was the offensive coordinator at the time at Oklahoma. He told me, whatever you do, take Troy Aikman.
3rd down and 7. Bobo under pressure. Steps up in the pocket, and he goes down at the 35-yard line. A lot of white jerseys surrounding Mike Bobo, with Johnny Rutledge finally coming in to finish him off.
Florida will blitz linebackers constantly. 58, Johnny Rutledge is one of the leading tacklers on the team. The leading tacklers throughout the Florida defense are those 3 linebackers, Rutledge, Bates, along with Mike Peterson. Those 3 guys.
Johnny Rutledge, one of only 7 sophomores named to the Butkus Award list. And Jaquez Green back deep. He'll catch it at the 25 and get pounded to the ground at the 24-yard line. Chris Terry with the special teams tackle. A 40-yard punt for Dax Langley.
Jaquez Green is a courageous punt returner. You have to make sure you have enough room to catch that punt. It's a judgment call on the part of the returner. Right there, it's a tremendous hit by Georgia. Almost knocked the ball loose.
And Dick Burleson.
We have holding against the receiving team. Post-scrimmage kick foul. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. 1st down.
Now tomorrow we've got a doubleheader of a different sort. The Hot Wheels of NASCAR returns to CBS Sports with 2 live races. First, the final showdown for the overall NASCAR Busch Series title at the Jiffy Lube Miami 300. Then the NASCAR Truck Series Championship will be crowned. The champion will be crowned at the CarQuest Auto Parts 420K from Las Vegas. 6:34 to go here in the first quarter play. 1st down and 10 for the Gators at the 16-yard line. Inside handoff, Elijah Williams.
Talking to Joe Kynes, the Georgia defensive coordinator this week, he said that when you prepare for a team like Florida, what you don't want to do is change your whole defense. They put so much stress on you. What he wanted to do was go ahead and stay with his scheme and just execute within the system. Just do the things they're doing, but do them well. And Florida stretches your defense to the max. This is going to be a real struggle for Joe Kynes and that Georgia Bulldog defense today.
Joe Kynes held over after Jim Donnan took over as the head coach at Georgia. 2nd down and 6 from the 20-yard line. Here's the reverse. Green smelled out pretty nicely by Ford, but Green breaks the tackle, and Ford has to come back and make the tackle after being beat at the 30-yard line. But Jaquez Green picked up 10 yards on the play.
Every time Jaquez Green touches the ball, he averages about 18 yards. He's just a tremendous athlete. He can make you miss. Champ Bailey, there's one miss. Champ Bailey misses there. He's just a guy, when you give him the ball and get it under his arm, the guy can make things happen. You talk about Ike Hilliard being out of the game, but you substitute Jaquez Green for him, you really don't miss all that much.
1st down from the 30-yard line for the Gators. 5:21 to go here in the first quarter play. Werfel once again checking off at the line of scrimmage. And a flag on the play. Play clock had run down.
You know, you look at Spurrier there.
Dead ball foul. Delay a game, offense, 5-yard penalty, we kick it down.
He gets frustrated with every mistake that his offensive team makes. He's a perfectionist, but you watch his play calling already. He's run reverses, fake reverses, a formation that totally dislodges your defense. He pulls you apart at the seams.
2nd penalty for the Gators. 1st down and long from the 25-yard line. Werfel, 3-step drop, fires and finds Riedel Anthony on the slant pattern up to the 35-yard line. Gain of 9. And scoring by quarters. Florida just dominating in the first quarter. 103 to 14.
Take your pick. First, second quarter, it doesn't matter. by halftime, most of the games are over with.
4:28 to go. Second down and 5. And they stay on the ground. Elijah Williams hurtling through the hole, and he'll stumble ahead to the 45-yard line. Pickup of 11.
The Florida Gators have improved their rushing game from last year. They've worked hard on it, and Donnie Young, 75, is one of the keys. He can play tackle or guard. In that particular case, he was the trapper. He made the kickout block that enabled the runner to be successful.
461 yards rushing on the season for Elijah Williams, running behind Donnie Young. First down from the 45-yard line. Play action. Werfel flushed out of the pocket, delivers over the middle. It's complete. Travis McGriff slides down inside the 40. Torrey Johnson there, but McGriff picks up 17 yards and his 13th catch of the year.
Well, I know that reception bothers Joe Kynes, the defensive coordinator at Georgia. He's known Travis McGriff since he's been in diapers. Joe Kynes and Travis's father coached together, and he told me yesterday, he says, it's going to be so strange seeing that little kid catch passes against me.
Travis McGriff's father, Lee, was an all-SEC wide receiver at the University of Florida. First down and 10 from the 38-yard line for the Gators, already leading at 13-0. Werfel again, this down to the near side, and he's got his receiver. Nafis Kareem, the sophomore out of Marietta, Georgia, making the catch. So Werfel 9 of 12 for 155 yards, and we're still in the first quarter.
Well, he's come out throwing. You know, when you watch him play and you look at a lot of his statistics, he only throws 25, 28, 9 times a game, but he's coming out with his arm cocked today.
Second down and short for the Gators. Werfel in trouble. Big pressure from the backside, got it off. And nice quick feet for Danny Werfel as he was able to elude Paul Snellings, who was pursuing him on the backside.
Well, it was an excellent play by Danny Werfel, avoiding the sack there. Georgia came after him with Brandon Tolbert, 28. They blitzed the linebackers. Joe Kynes is going to change it up on Werfel. He's going to sometimes come after him with pressure, sometimes defend, sometimes play press coverage, sometimes play soft. He's got to change it up. If you stay in the same thing all the time, Werfel will attack you and kill you.
That'll make it 3rd down and 1. Elijah Williams, big hole up the middle, and he'll plummet ahead to the 20-yard line. Derek Bird bringing him down.
The hole that Florida is able to create in the Georgia defense is tremendous right here. It's an off-tackle play, and they just force a pressure point in that defense. They slam it in off tackle. There's yardage to be had on every snap right now, the way Georgia's playing defense.
Elijah Williams already on the season. 2 straight 100-yard games. And he's been sharing the ball with Fred Taylor. Here's Werfel again, looking in the end zone. Touchdown. Riedel Anthony, his second. This one good for 21 yards. And boy, do they make it look easy.
Riedel Anthony, the slot receiver, runs across the field. Georgia's in man-to-man coverage. They just can't stay locked up. Ronald Bailey cannot cover him. He's just not a good enough athlete. Riedel Anthony, once again, puts it in the end zone.
Riedel Anthony, his second touchdown. He's got 5 catches for 70 yards. And we have 2 minutes and 2 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Bart Edmiston with the extra point, and it's good. 2:02 left. Florida on top, 20-0.
Jimmy, light up the court.
And hit the radio, man.
Every day, car batteries are put to the test. And every day, America's most trusted lives up to its name. Die Hard. Tried and true.
I love sports. Come on, baby. That's why we got Prime Star. Come on. Some might even say I'm a sports maniac.
No.
See, Prime Star's got more sports than even I can watch in digital picture and sound. Yeah! Prime Star's the best deal on satellite TV. There is no equipment to buy. And it all starts at about $1 a day. I might be a maniac, but I am not crazy.
For the best value in satellite TV, call 1-800-PRIME-STAR or visit your local Radio Shack.
Little over 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Florida 20, Georgia nothing. Their scoring drive, 9 plays covering 84 yards, and they score in 4 minutes and 32 seconds. So the Bulldogs will be looking to get something going on offense. Hines Ward from his own 5, returning it straight up the middle, and he'll be brought down at the 26-yard line. A 16-yard return. And so far, the scoring summary. Georgia went up 7-0, set up by a Jacquez Green 36-yard punt return. Then Reedell Anthony with a 20-yard reception. Point after try was missed. Then it's Reedell Anthony again with a 21-yard reception. And Uga has seen better days. First down and 10 from the 26-yard line. Juan Daniels in motion. Bobo over the middle, and he has Daniels at the 45. Daniels tackled at the 46-yard line. Shea Showers there to bring him down.
Juan Daniels is a player that Georgia has a lot of confidence in. He suffered a concussion against Mississippi State, is just really coming back from the effects of that. He has a chance to be one of the top receivers in Georgia history. He just needs to keep coming back from that injury.
Juan Daniels and Hines Ward, they combined for 61% of the receiving yards for this Georgia team. Gain of 20, first down and 10 from the 46. Delayed handoff. Robert Edwards bursting up the middle, spins, and he'll get down inside the 45-yard line. An impressive piece of running by Robert Edwards as he picks up 11 yards. Lawrence Wright with the tackle.
Robert Edwards is a player who was moved from defensive back to tailback. He's struggled this year a little bit, but he is an explosive back. He has outstanding vision, and this is one of the things that Jim Dunnan wants to do. He wants to be able to mix run and pass and certainly take advantage of that new defensive line that's playing for Florida.
First down and 10 from the 43-yard line. Pump fake by Bobo. He goes for the long ball, and it's incomplete. Hines Ward, the intended receiver on the play, but Bobo overthrows him. And getting back to Robert Edwards, in his first 2 games last season, he had 325 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns, and then broke his foot, and his season ended from that point on. And this is a player that Jim Dunnan was expecting to come into the lineup healthy and really ready to contribute some very, very big plays for them this year. Big game.
Awful lot of pressure on Robert Edwards. The expectation level from the Bulldog faithful was so high. He's an outstanding back, but he has not had the kind of year that people anticipated him having.
Second down and 10 from the 43. Bobo got rid of it, and it's incomplete. Robert Edwards, the intended receiver, out of the backfield, had the ball in his hands, but James Bates was there to knock it loose. James Bates' dad, Jim, is the linebacker coach for the Dallas Cowboys and was the defensive coordinator here for the Florida Gators in 1990. But under Steve Spurrier, defensive coordinators don't stay here in Florida for a whole long period of time. Third down and 10 from the 43, out of the gun. They run the option to the near side. Edwards receives the pitch, gets up to the 40-yard line. Down at the 38, and thrown a lot defensively for the Gators.
Mike Bobo runs the option. He's really not an option quarterback. In fact, since his knee has been fractured, he doesn't have the mobility that he once had. But Jim Dunnan here surprises the defense with a little option play, the pitch out to Edwards, makes a good positive gain, but here they are, they're faced with a real tough 4th down and about 7.
9 seconds remaining on the game clock. And they get off the play. Here's Bobo stepping up, delivers, complete. Corey Allen dragging the ball down to the 21-yard line, and Mike Bobo throws a strike good enough for 17 yards. And that is the end of the first quarter of play, with the Florida Gators leading Georgia 20-0. And we'll return to Jacksonville after this message and a word from your local station.
The Michelin X1, with a 6-year unlimited mileage tread-like warranty, gives you better wet traction than any rain tire, plus Michelin control in most driving conditions. After all, it hasn't rained that much in years.
How do you get this equipment to these troops when there's a river between them? Build a bridge. Problem solving. You need it now in college. Learn it now in the Army Reserve.
In a Saab 900 Turbo, you could feel an exhilaration polite society would frown on. You could act on impulses committees would vote down. And when they tell you to zig, you could zag. Turbo Rush. Only in the Saab 900 Turbo. Find your own road, Saab.
CBS. Welcome home.
Nimnick Chevrolet Geo knows you're a truck lover if going off the road is an adventure, not an accident. Nimnick trucks are roomy, rugged, and ready to roll. For serious work or serious fun, it's all in one package. A Nimnick Chevy truck for the truck lover in you. Who else has the largest selection of trucks, vans, and sport utility vehicles with the extras you demand?
Nimnick Chevy Geo, the one you need to know.
You may buy your Toyota 6 Series forklift because it gives you more uptime, but you'll rest easy on the comfortable seat. You'll be surprised at the increased head and leg room and the superior visibility. You'll love the low-effort controls, fuel efficiency, unbeatable service, and Toyota reliability. Isn't it time you gave your business a lift? For more information, contact your local Toyota Industrial Equipment dealer at Handling Systems Engineering, Inc., 904-764-7662.
There's a source for all of your words to travel through. One simple, powerful source, Bell South. We're bringing together every kind of technology, local and long distance, internet access, wireless, yellow pages, interactive, and beyond. One single source that connects your words in every way, because a word can have many meanings, but it means nothing until it's shared. Bell South.
Stay tuned for the news with Karen Drew right after the game.
What a way to watch a football game, with a nice view from the St. Johns River. Georgia with the ball at the 22-yard line, and they give it to Robert Edwards, who's stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
Gus, one of the keys for Georgia, when they get inside the scoring zone from the 25-yard line in, they can't be settling for 3 points. Not against Florida. They're too explosive. They need to think 7. Even if they have to go for it on 4th down, I think Jim Donnan is sinking 7 points most of the time. Otherwise, you're just going to get outscored by Florida.
Coach Donnan was the offensive coordinator for Barry Switzer in 1985 on the national championship team at Oklahoma.
I'll love him forever for sending me Troy Aikman.
I bet you
he and
do.
Switzer, both of them.
No question. Flags on the play. Fire to the near side. It's caught. Larry Brown headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia, but there is a flag on the play. Anthony Lott is down in the end zone.
We have a dead ball foul. The play did not get off. The 25-second clock expired.
But so a tough break for the Bulldogs as Larry Brown, wide open, dragging across the field,
and he got into the end zone to score. Not only did he get into the end zone, he knocked Anthony Lott, number 9 for Florida. He knocked him down and almost out. And Anthony Lott is a tough customer playing corner for Florida. But that big old Larry Brown, that tight end, he ran right over him. Anthony Lott is the most experienced cornerback on this team, has 31 starts during his career. He's a Thorpe Award candidate. First team All-SEC as he jogs off the field. And pretty interesting matchup. Larry Brown goes 6'5", 250. And Anthony Lott is 5'9", 173. Well, Anthony Lott will tackle him again the next time, but he'll remember to get a little bit lower and put those pads on him, a little more force. That Larry Brown turned it up on him. So instead of a touchdown, the Bulldogs have a 2nd down and 15 situation from the Florida 27-yard line. Ron Daniels in motion. Over the middle, incomplete. Hines Ward, the intended receiver, he was open. And Lawrence Wright was covering, but a flag has been thrown on the play. I think we have roughing the passer here.
Have a personal foul, roughing the passer against the defense after just automatic first.
One of the things that officials are in charge with is protecting the quarterback. Florida comes on the blitz. It's a late hit by James Bates right there. He takes a free shot at that quarterback, and they got him. And for Georgia, when their offense has gotten inside the 20-yard line, they've scored about 50% of the time. Only 20 possessions inside the 20. And Terry, is that a low number? No question. They're not getting down into the scoring territory as often as they need to because they've been disrupted with penalties and interceptions. One of the things that Jim Dunnan has really fought this season. Here's Robert Edwards cutting it across the field, and he's stacked up at the 12-yard line and driven backwards. Mike Peterson there with initial contact for the Gators. Mike Peterson, just a great athlete. As a matter of fact, a lot of great athletes on this Florida team. He's playing for Javon Curse, who's 2nd on the team in big plays. Curse broke his hand, but Peterson steps right in, and Terry, it's almost as if nothing changes. Well, Mike Peterson came out of spring practice, the starter, got hurt in August, then he couldn't win the job back from Javon Curse. Now he's getting an opportunity to start once again because of Curse's injury. Out of the shotgun, Mike Bobo just drilled in the backfield. Mike Moten, the replacement for Ed Chester, got through and made the play. One of the keys to the Florida defense is to put pressure on the quarterback. They lead the conference with 34 sacks. This year, they average about 5 sacks a game. That is what disrupts a quarterback's ability to concentrate and get his feet planted and throw the ball. That kind of pressure. Junior out of Daytona Beach. 3rd down and 9 for the Bulldogs from the 12-yard line. Bobo out of the shotgun, looking to his right, throws complete, and dragged down inside the 10-yard line. Corey Allen with the reception. Demetric Jackson, the backup strong safety, was there to corral him. This is where Jim Dunnan is really faced with some decisions. Do you kick the field goal, put points on the board when you get down into this area on 4th down, or do you go for it? When you're playing against the #1 team in the country, you're down 20-0. Tell you what, you can roll the dice and do whatever you want to do. Kick it, go for it, it doesn't really matter. You need to come out of here, though, with some confidence and some points. Georgia, 4th down and 4 from the 7. Here's Bobo. Looking, throwing, incomplete. Mike Bobo under pressure from his front side. Reggie McGrew was giving chase. Reggie McGrew really put the heat on Mike Bobo. Bobo has just never been given the opportunity by that Georgia offensive line to get his feet planted and to get the ball where he needs to have it. That ball's just overthrown. 11:59 to go in the 2nd quarter. 20-0 Florida.
CBS, welcome home.
Tiger Woods. Heard of him? He's the hottest cat on the course. Sam Kavares catches Tiger on the tour. Sunday at 11, only on Channel 4. The point is clear. Colleges want the best high school players. How far will they go to get them?
The used car salesman down the street has nothing on these guys.
Paul Van Osdale tackles the world of college recruiting. Pressure Points, Thursday at 11, only on Channel 4.
No American should question my commitment to Medicare. The AARP flatly stated that our plan will increase Medicare spending 7% a year. And they're right. But the president's playing politics with Medicare, trying to scare seniors to get votes. USA Today calls this false and misleading. The Washington Post called it a campaign based on distortion and fear. Medicare is too important to play political games. I won't do it. I'll save Medicare and strengthen it for America's seniors.
The Accord has remarkable road-holding capabilities. Its price, however, is very much down to earth. Right now, you can lease a Honda Accord LX for $239 a month for 24 months and a $750 down payment. The 97 Accord LX. See one right side up at your Honda dealer.
Stay tuned for sports with Matt Morrison right after the game.
(20-0), Florida on top of Georgia as the Bulldogs were on a 12-play drive covering 78 yards but turned the ball over on down. First down from the 8-yard line. And they stay on the ground. Running the football, Fred Taylor. And he'll get it up to the 12-yard line. Flags are on the play. Brandon Tolbert making the tackle.
The last scoring opportunity for Georgia was taken away by number 92, Reggie McGrew, the inside tackle. He comes around on a little twist stunt outside, and the quarterback just needs a little more time to get that ball off. But McGrew punishes him, gives him a good hit. That's going to stay with Mike Bobo throughout the afternoon. Those are the things that quarterbacks don't like to do. Take those hits, get knocked to the ground like that. He is the only guy in that defensive line that could play today for Florida.
Redshirt freshman out of Mayo, Florida. Very good athlete in high school. Won 3 straight discus state titles. First down and 5. Here's Taylor again. And he continues to churn and will get the ball up to the 17-yard line. And for an update, let's head down to Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Gus. Well, the injury update on center Jeff Mitchell for Florida. They did take x-rays, and those x-rays show he had broken his left fibula. He will be out for 6 to 8 weeks, and needless to say, very sorely missed for Florida. Gus, back upstairs to you.
So a pretty big blow for the Gator offense with Jeff Mitchell being out for the remainder of the season.
That's a huge blow. You talk, Gus, you're talking about a 4-year starter, a fellow whose first team SEC in '95, a real leader of that offensive front. Florida's been able to move that offensive line around because of the flexibility and versatility of Donnie Young. He's been able to play guard, tackle. I don't think he can play center. I don't think that that's going to happen. Wiley Rich is going to have to step up now and lead the middle of that line.
First down from the 18. Taylor again running off the left side, and he gets up to the 25-yard line. And with the absence of Jeff Mitchell, that's really going to hurt his buddy Donnie Young, not only his teammate up front on the offensive line, but a very close friend. Donnie Young has a learning disability, and Jeff Mitchell, the All-American, academic All-American, used to type his papers for him, so they have a very close relationship both on and off the field.
They were roommates, freshmen at the University of Florida.
Here's Fred Taylor bouncing it outside. He gets to the 30-yard line. Greg Bright dragging him from behind.
Carries for a Gator first down.
And the question is, Coach Donahue, what do you have to do to slow down this Florida offense? If you don't get to Danny Werfel, he beats you with the pass. If they run the football, they run it all over the crazy field. What do you have to do to get to these guys?
Well, that's like Joe Kynes, the defensive coordinator of Georgia, says, if I play press defense, I give up 40 points. If I play soft defense, I give up 50 points. Which do I want to give up? You know, they have so many weapons, and they strategically stretch it to the breaking point on defense.
Play action, Werfel pumping over the middle, almost intercepted. Corey Johnson had a beat on the football. The intended receiver was Reedell Anthony.
Incomplete. 2nd and 10. The Gators, their own 30-yard line.
It's not often that the ball gets away from Danny Werfel. In this particular case, it does. He doesn't throw to an open receiver. The thing that I like about Danny Werfel, and the most impressive attribute he has, is his decision-making. Generally, he always gets the ball to the open receiver. And it's a complicated offensive system. He sits there at the line of scrimmage half the time, checks most of the plays on it.
2nd down and 10 from the 30. Werfel on play action again, this time to the far side. Anthony with the reception at the 41-yard line in front of Kirby Smart, and he steps out of bounds. And the question I'd like to ask you, Coach, a lot of people have questioned Danny Werfel's ability to play at the next level. They say his arm isn't strong enough. What is your opinion?
Well, Steve Spurrier answered that for me. I asked Steve Spurrier that question a week ago. He said if he was in pro football, he would love to have Danny Werfel as his quarterback. And Danny's getting a lot more attention now from the pro scouts. When you look at the numbers, the passing statistics, the success of the team, the decision-making and leadership ability, this guy can play football.
Also a very intelligent young man, 3.7 grade point average. He goes for the home run here, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver, Nafis Kareem, covering Glenn Ford for Georgia.
Georgia plays press coverage as often as they play off the ball, and Nafis Kareem is one of the new players at Florida due to the suspension of Ike Hilliard. We haven't seen a lot of him in watching Florida play. He's an outstanding athlete and someone that the Florida coaches think will be a real star here.
Knee injury forced him to miss the first 2 games of the season. He's a sophomore out of Marietta, Georgia. 2nd down and 10 from the 41 for Danny Werfel as the rain starts to come down once again here in Jacksonville. 9:48 to go, and Werfel decides to burn a timeout. Gators on top of the Bulldogs, 20-0.
It began just 4 years ago. Today, the GM MasterCard proudly announces that GM card earnings have helped to buy or lease 1 million new GM cars and trucks. The GM card is also proud to be ranked highest in customer satisfaction among rewards credit cards by J.D. Power and Associates. Your key is waiting for you.
Primitive investors were always stalking the bull, fearing the bear, chasing the fast buck. Slowly, some investors came to understand seasons and cycles. They worked to build wealth and preserve it, to thrive when others fought to survive. Are you counting on making a killing? Or have you evolved into a more civilized investor? Ask your financial advisor about Kemper funds to start building tomorrows, today.
It starts with a full quarter pound of beef, with fresh toppings, our chef sauce, on a bakery soft roll. McDonald's Arch Deluxe. If it were any more grown up, we'd need to check your ID. It's McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
Is your dandruff sending the wrong signals? Get Selsun Power. Doctors recommend Selsun Blue #1, so don't send the wrong signals. Get Selsun Power.
Pat O'Brien here in our New York studios. Coming up on college football today, our halftime report. Craig James will be along with all the scores and highlights of the day, including this story. Down in the Plains, Nebraska gives Oklahoma its worst loss ever, 73-21. Here, Ralph Brown scores one of the Huskers' 10 touchdowns. Black Saturday in Norman. Back to the game.
Just a tough afternoon for the Oklahoma Sooners.
That's tougher than tough, Gus. That's really tough.
That's one they will remember for a long time.
Looks like Nebraska's trying to get ready for a rematch with Florida.
2nd down and 10 from the 41-yard line.
Rick Neuheisel and the Colorado Buffaloes are going to have something to say about that.
And after failing to score on their first possession, for the first time in 7 games. Look what the Gators have done. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
The thing that amazes me is the ease with which they make it look. You watch them play, and they don't seem to ever struggle very much. They always kind of have an offensive answer, and I think therein lies part of the genius between Steve Spurrier and Danny Werfel. They have answers. Werfel sits there, and he's a coach on the field.
3rd down and 5 from the 46. Werfel once again checking off at the line of scrimmage, and they get the play off. Well, they don't. Whistle and flags come a second late, and this will be a penalty going against the Gators.
Dead ball foul, delay of game, offense. 5 yards, repeat the down.
You know, in spite of the score, Gus, Florida has not been particularly sharp thus far today. Danny Werfel's had an interception. They've had some delay of games, had to burn a couple timeouts. You have to remember they're coming off a bye week. A bye week gives you the advantage of rest mentally and physically, but it also takes away a little of your game timing. It takes a while to get back into that tempo.
4th penalty for Florida for 34 yards. 3rd down 10. Werfel over the middle. Once again, Riedel Anthony. And he is dropped at the 42-yard line. Corey Johnson with the tackle. 17-yard pickup for Riedel Anthony, and he already is just having a monster game.
Riedel Anthony, the slot receiver, number 15. He's working against Alondis Sims, number 22. And the facts of the matter are Riedel Anthony is a physical receiver. He bumps himself off. He's just an excellent possession receiver. This guy can do it all.
His 2 TD receptions today have given him the overall lead nationally in front of Marcus Harris of Wyoming. 1st down from the 42-yard line of Georgia for the Gators. Werfel stepping up, delivering, complete. Jaquez Green inside the 20. Corey Johnson there defensively again. And Jaquez picking up 23 yards.
Jaquez Green is the inside receiver. He's an excellent deep ball player. Every time this guy touches the ball, whether it's punt returning, whether it's as a receiver, it doesn't really matter. The guy just has all of the tools to be a great one, and that's exactly what he is. Look at Danny Werfel work the pocket. Stands tall, releases the ball right where it needs to be.
Jaquez Green had 4 catches for 71 yards against Auburn, and look at the numbers of Danny Werfel. 226 yards already. Looking in the end zone, touchdown. Pitch and catch. This time, Tremaine Allen with his first receiving touchdown of the season. A 19-yarder for the former walk-on.
Tremaine Allen is a tight end, and one of the things Steve Spurrier has been criticized for is that he doesn't get the ball to the tight end very often. Tremaine Allen simply runs down the middle of the field, breaks off a little post pattern inside. Werfel puts the ball where he needs to, and Jim Donnan has to look at that and say, my goodness, how can we slow this offensive team down?
Hard to slow this Florida offense down with guys like Tremaine Allen catching touchdowns. It's all Florida so far.
Xerox. The forecast called for a calm, quiet meeting, but a tempest rages instead. It's often the case in today's international business climate, which is why the employee owners of United have prepared a place high above it all, with worldly comforts that refresh, restore, and renew. United Airlines, the calm before and after the storm. We don't just work here. Come fly our friendly skies.
Craig Lambert isn't too worried about how to invest for Zach's college education. That's because he works with a broker from Dean Witter. Together, they developed a long-term investment plan to help take Zach wherever he wants to go.
Clients feel most comfortable with our ability to see things from their perspective.
Now, when Craig looks into his son's eyes, he can see the future and smile. Dean Witter.
We measure success one investor at a time.
A 19-yard touchdown by Tremaine Allen gives Florida a 27-0 lead, and he's a young man that spent 3 semesters as a regular student at Florida before deciding to walk on this football team, earned a scholarship during the spring, and has an opportunity to play for a national championship for the 2nd straight season.
As a head coach, you love walk-ons like that guy.
And the Georgia Bulldogs will down it in the end zone. And Tremaine Allen, watch a whole lot of space there.
Watch Tremaine Allen at the top of the screen, number 91. He normally is a blocker. This particular play, he gets to run right down the middle of the field. He's working against Brandon Talbert, number 28, the outside linebacker. He just can't cover him. Touchdown, Florida. This guy's only caught 4 balls this year. Most of the time, you know, he has to block, but all of a sudden you get a touchdown. That'll make your whole evening. That'll be on his own personal highlight movie, that thing.
Georgia running the option, Mike Bobo refusing to pitch the ball, and he'll go down in the backfield. Willie Rogers making the tackle for the Gators.
Well, Jim Donnan, the head coach at Georgia, knows a lot about option football. He was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma when they won the national championship. But Mike Bobo doesn't put a real threat on any defense running the option. He just doesn't have the kind of mobility you need. He'd be much better off giving the ball to the tailback, Robert Edwards, Patrick Pass, guys who can really make some yards for you.
2nd down and 12. Corey Allen with the catch on the slant, and he'll get it up to the 29-yard line. And Georgia 20-25-1 in the SEC in the 90s, and the fans in Georgia just have to realize that it's going to take a little bit of time.
Well, Jim Donnan has to have time to get Georgia back to where they want to be, and he's an outstanding coach, a good guy, players like him. He's going to do a good job at Georgia. He's a fine recruiter. He'll get the players. It's just going to take him time. He's going to have to suffer through a couple years of building to get him back on top.
3rd down and 2 from the 28. Ball hits the ground, and it looks like the Gators may have recovered it, and they have. Robert Edwards, the 2nd time he has fumbled the football. The 1st time he got back on it. This time he gives it up.
Well, the timing between Bobo, the quarterback, looked like the ball hit him right in the stomach. It appeared that Robert Edwards should have been able to get control of that ball and slice up into that line of scrimmage.
2nd turnover of the ball game for Georgia.
This is not where you want to turn the ball over to Florida.
Riedel Anthony splitting out wide to the far side. Looks like he may be in one-on-one coverage. As he goes in motion, Werfel looks that way under pressure, and he goes down. Brian Jones, the outside linebacker, came shooting through and comes up with the sack. His 3rd of the season.
Brian Jones, number 56, the outside linebacker from the left side. He's the one that makes the blitz. Joe Kynes is going to try to change things up again on Werfel. He doesn't always want to come after him with pressure. He doesn't always want to defend. He needs to keep him off balance as much as he can. Good call by Joe Kynes, and good execution there by Brian Jones.
Brian Jones, 5th-year senior out of Jacksonville, Florida, playing at home today. Loss of 9. Werfel, play action. Over the middle, complete. Travis McGriff at the 15, and he's dragged down inside the 15 at the 12. Corey Johnson, another tackle deep in the Georgia secondary. Gain of 24 yards this time.
The reason Florida is the #1 team in the country is they can respond. They take a sack, immediately come back with a huge play to Travis McGriff. He runs an inside route. It's a deep pattern into the Georgia secondary. Werfel has the time because of that offensive line to execute that kind of a route.
Travis McGriff, a former ball boy for this Florida team in the 9th grade. So he is not only playing at home, but playing for the team that he's always wanted to play for growing up as a kid. Elijah Williams running the football. And Danny Werfel, a good distributor of the football.
He's a great decision maker, Gus. He understands where Steve Spurrier wants him to go with the ball. He'll distribute it all over the field.
2nd down, 7 from the Georgia 11-yard line. 3-step drop. They look for the fade in the corner. Touchdown, Jacquez Green. They hit you from all angles. This time it's the Green angle as Jacquez picks up his 3rd touchdown of the year.
Steve Spurrier said that Danny Werfel throws the fade route better than anybody in college football. When you have press coverage, the wide receiver just fades to the outside. That's exactly what Jacquez Green does there, and you can see the perfect execution with the ball by Danny Werfel and Jacquez Green. That's a hard route to throw.
Bart Edmiston, who had a streak of 114 straight broken last week, adds the extra point. Florida, Florida, Florida.
I'm not everyone, I'm me. So when I decided to quit smoking, I did not choose that one-size-fits-all patch. I chose Nicorette gum. Nicorette has this flexible dosing schedule that helped me control my cravings. It let me use the strength I needed, the amount I needed, when I needed it. Nicorette was personal. It fit me. You know, me the non-smoker. Me.
Nicorette gum will help you quit smoking successfully by helping you control your cravings. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
What's so wonderful about having the University of Georgia is that these heroes are touchable heroes that our young ladies can instantly relate to.
If you're a collegiate athlete, you have to be a role model. We encourage them to work hard and do well in school.
We provide a lot of nurturing.
Girls School taught me to set goals and standards for myself.
And it's organizations like United Way and SCC that's making all of this possible.
The SCC and the United Way teaming up to make a difference.
4:19 to go in the 2nd quarter. 34 shake. Florida on top of Georgia. Now Steve Spurrier, a very competitive coach, especially in terms of this particular rivalry, as Matt Teague sends it away. Here's Kirksey, 2 yards in his own end zone, returning the ball straight ahead, and he'll get up to the 20. And in 1942, on the 1-year anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the Bulldogs humiliated the Gators 75-0 in a game that a lot of Florida fans still remember, including that guy, Steve Spurrier.
The game that Spurrier really remembers is his senior year when he came in here in 1966 undefeated, leading the Florida Gators, and Georgia beat him here. That's the game that Steve Spurrier remembers more than any of them.
Misdirection play. Here's Kirksey over the right side, gets up to the 35-yard line, make it the 37 before finally being dragged down from behind.
Torrin Kirksey is one of the 3 tailbacks that Georgia will play. There's a misdirection play. He's an excellent runner. He's got vision, speed. The thing that Jim Donnan is going to do now is just try to get his team competitive. He just needs to start getting some kind of a drive started, mix run and pass. You can't let your players get discouraged. When they're getting beat like this, it's easy to get down. But the task of the head coach is to rally those guys and get them making first down.
Here's Kirksey, receives the pitch, and he just gets stood up at the 37-yard line. Johnny Rutledge in on the play for the Gators.
Johnny Rutledge is one of those linebackers at Florida coming from the left side of the screen. He can run, and the speed factor is what makes Florida such a great defensive team. He comes all the way across the field to make the big hit. Those are the kinds of players you need to be a great defensive team, guys that can run.
Mike Moulton is the injured Gator at the 37-yard line as he gets to his feet. And he replaces Ed Chester. Tim Beauchamp already out of the lineup as well with a concussion. Keith Council, a backup to Reggie McGrew, has been suspended also for failing to attend class.
They'll get Mike Moten back in there as soon as they can. They are awfully thin in that defensive line.
Rain starting to really come down in Jacksonville. 3:12 to go, second down and 10. Here's Kirksey again, finding a crease, and he'll get over the 40-yard line up to the 41. Willie Rogers with the stop for the Gators, and the first 5 possessions for the Dogs, no points.
Well, you got to give Bob Stoops, the defensive coordinator in Florida, some credit for that. He's come to Florida, taken over a tough job, a very high-profile job, and I think he's blended marvelously with Steve Spurrier. Spurrier really likes the way that Bob Stoops plays defense. He stops the run, he pressures the quarterback, and he crowds receivers. That's the secret to this defensive success.
Bobo again to the near side, and a diving grab by Larry Brown. That could be good enough for a first down.
Number 87, Larry Brown.
And Larry Brown in the last 3 weeks really starting to come into his own. Had 5 catches for 69 yards against Kentucky. A very good athlete. Also played on the basketball team at Georgia and had a chance to play in the NCAA tournament for Tubby Smith.
Well, this is what Mike Bobo has got to do. He's got to have time so he can get his feet planted and release that ball. That's a great example. When the quarterback is given that time, gets planted, lets it go, Mike Bobo can hit some passes.
And Coach Stoops was the defensive coordinator for Bill Snyder at Kansas State. Here's a counter. Kirksey again up close to the 50-yard line, and has really brought a new style and intensity to the defense. And told the story about, as you take a look at some of the numbers, how he has improved this team, especially in rushing yards per game. 91 this year as opposed to only 130. And he tells the story about getting the call from Steve Spurrier. He and his wife had just purchased a home at Kansas State. They were happy. But he asked Coach Spurrier point blank, is this my job? And if it is, I'm interested. If it's not, I'm happy where I am.
You know, he didn't really think it was Steve Spurrier when he got the call. He thought one of his buddies was playing a trick on him. In coaching, coaches do that to each other a whole lot of time.
49-yard line.
A minute 22 seconds to go here in the first half of play. Mike Bobo, 5 of 13, 58 yards, 1 interception. Georgia with 1 opportunity to really put some points on the scoreboard when they had gotten down inside the 10-yard line, but the pressure from Reggie McGrew disrupted a pass to Juan Daniels from Mike Bobo. 3rd down and 8. Out of the gun. Here's Bobo setting up under pressure. Incomplete.
Mike Bobo's pass intended for number 20.
Cedric Warren with the pressure on Mike Bobo.
Well, the Florida defense is just too tough, whether it's against the run or against the pass. Georgia just can't get anything going offensively right now. One thing that hurts Mike Bobo, it's not all his fault, the offensive problems on this team, but one thing that does hurt him, he's not very mobile since that knee injury. And I think we'll see Donnan make a change at quarterback, try to get a little more mobility at that position in the second half.
Here's Dax Langley standing at the 35-yard line. High snap, handled, and he just got it off. Low punt. Fair catch signal being applied by Jacquez Green, and it will take a Georgia bounce and finally be down inside the 10-yard line at the 7. 43-yard punt by Dax Langley, and he came into the game averaging 40 yards per kick. The Jacksonville Municipal Stadium, formerly known as the Gator Bowl, went under some serious renovations, and according to Steve Spurrier, just a beautiful stadium, and one that they're looking forward to playing in for a long time to come.
Well, the game being in Jacksonville creates so much excitement in the city. You've got all these people pouring in for both sides, and last night, I mean, it was a happening here in Jacksonville.
Delayed handoff. A Elijah Williams wrapped up by Travis Stroud under a minute to go in the second quarter of play. Now next week, it's Notre Dame taking on Boston College. In the last few years, it's been one of the best rivalries in college football. Boston College coming up with some huge wins against Notre Dame. And here in the South, you'll see Tennessee led by their dynamic quarterback Peyton Manning against Memphis. Second down and 6 from the 12-yard line. 27 seconds to go. Elijah Williams breaking off the left side, cuts it back up, and he'll get to the 28-yard line. O.G. Grant, the freshman out of Atlanta, Georgia, making the tackle.
Tackle by number 58, Ron Grant, and Brandon Tolman. They're on the 49-yard line.
Elijah Williams staying in the game. The deep back under 10 to play. Draw play. Trying to get outside, and he does. And finally slides ahead to the 36-yard line as the quarter expired. So for Florida, after failing to score on their first offensive possession for the first time all season, they come back and score 34 points. And let's check in with our Michelle Tafoya.
All right, with Coach Donnan. And, Coach, the offense has some trouble getting started. What will you do in the second half, and will you make a quarterback change?
Well, we got to look at everything we're doing. We've given them 2 easy scores. Our defense has made some plays early, but they're a great football team. We got a lot of good players.
Coach, good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Michelle. That's the end of the first half with the score, Florida 34, Georgia nothing. Pat O'Brien and Craig James come along next with College Football Today.
CBS, welcome home.
The most brutal crimes in our community. Harry Shorstein has prosecuted the murderers and won convictions.
When the state attorney himself decides that he's going to handle the case where you've lost a child, and it makes you just feel more important about that child.
First thing I observed and noticed by Mr. Shorstein is the respect that he gave to me and my family.
Harry Shorstein, on our side in the fight against crime.
Vince Lombardi once said that coaches that can outline plays on a blackboard are a dime a dozen. The ones who win are the ones that get inside their players and motivate. Well, I know all about motivation, and so do the folks at your local Southern Ford dealer.
Hurry in for $500 cash back on the all-new redesigned version of America's best-selling small car, Ford Escort.
Now that's what I call motivation.
See your local Southern Ford dealer for $500 cash back on a new 97 Ford Escort today.
This Halloween, Blockbuster Video has a special treat. Buy one of these Halloween classics for just $7.99. Rent 2 movies and they're yours for $3.99. If that's not a reason to scream, what is?
Objection, Your Honor.
When justice is a game and innocence is an illusion, nothing is more dangerous than the truth. Richard Gere, Primal Fear from Paramount. Rated R. Rent it tonight.
Baby, come on. I'm sorry. We'll never go there again. We'll go to Amoco. We'll get some Ultimate.
I was wrong, oh, so wrong.
Then we can drive around the park.
The one and only Sam Kavaris, only on Channel 4.
The College Football Today Ford Division Halftime Report is sponsored by Ford Division.
And welcome to College Football Today Ford Halftime Report, where our score, Florida leads Georgia 34-0. Hi, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, along with Craig James and Danny Werfel. Another huge day, huh?
You know, we always talked about Danny Werfel and about him being a part of the system. Forget about that. I really believed in him for a long time, but the guy is so precise with the way he throws the ball. Defenses try to mix some things up out there. It doesn't matter if it's man-to-man or if it's zone. He's going to find the opening.
Putting it all together today. 4 touchdown passes on the day. Let's fire up the scoreboard. The other game here on CBS. Syracuse all over West Virginia. 27-0. And it's Parents' Day up there, but it's also Special Teams Day for Syracuse.
Who sings that song? Head Games. It's Foreigner. You didn't even know that. Deion Maddox takes the punt.
72 yards later, a touchdown. Syracuse owns West Virginia mentally right now. Their offense and defense, you just forget about it. Special teams, they're afraid at West Virginia. They're going to have to walk on the field and try to block for a punt or something else. And the whole game has been between the ears.
Special teams are in control for Syracuse today. Phil Nash gets his second block punt of the day as he walks in untouched.
Can you imagine what you're saying? The second block punt of the day? I mean, as long as West Virginia's allowing people to block punts like they did last week with Miami, they're going to have people coming at them week in and week out.
All right, a blowout in the making, 27-0 in the second quarter. Shocker of the day so far, Oregon State, the Beavers leading Arizona State 14-9. Akili King, watch him burst up the middle from 6 yards out, give the Beavers a 7-6 lead. And then Tim Alexander keeps it, goes for 48 yards. But this was a shocker up from Al.
Yeah, don't hold your breath, though, pal, because this thing's going to turn on. Arizona State will win the ball game. Tim Alexander, 48 yards for the touchdown. It gives them a 14-6 lead late in the second quarter. But Arizona State, Jake Plummer, they'll come back.
All right, well, we'll find out. 14-9 at the half. In the Big 12, Colorado and Missouri, 41-13. Colorado all over the Tigers this afternoon. 35 degrees there. Guy got his shirt off. Corby Jones, watch him tough his way into the end zone from 13 yards out. On the option, he goes in 4-6. And then Babe Caruth catches the ball over the middle, and watch him spin out of a tackle and score his second touchdown of the day.
This is Coy Detmer's guy. Ray Caruth is a track star that happens to be a great football player as well. Caruth has got to stay in this offense for them to be the team they need to be. Detmer's got a school record passing going so far, 453 yards. He is the man today.
3 touchdown passes for Coy, 41-13 in the fourth quarter. On the Big Ten, Penn State and Northwestern. Northwestern had those miracle wins, a little letdown today, a big letdown actually, 27-3 in the third quarter. Can they come back here?
Steve Schnurz, he's out of it right now.
BYU and Texas El Paso, 40-18 there in the fourth quarter. The ACC, Virginia on Parents' Day here, and they spanked Duke 27-3 as Tiki Barber went 100 yards rushing for the 8th time in 8 games.
That's a school record as well.
125 yards, 2 touchdowns for Tiki. Very famous college football analyst earlier today had said that SMU would play this one close. They have not so far, 49-10. The Cowboys of Wyoming tried to stay undefeated.
Must have been Eric Dickerson somewhere.
Notre Dame and Navy here on CBS, and over in Ireland, the final was 54-27. Notre Dame hoping to extend its 32-game winning streak. They traveled everybody over to Ireland, to Dublin for a nice time. Already up 14-7, Notre Dame extends its lead on a 33-yard off-tackle touchdown by Autry Denson late in the first half. And I'll tell you, Notre Dame had one of its most tremendous performances of the season. And afterwards, Ron Powell spoke with our own Andrea Joyce.
This is a huge boost for us. You know, we looked at this as, you know, we can win the last 5 games of our season and you know, go to a bowl game, end up 10-2, and walk away smiling, and that's what we want to do.
Is that a look of desperation, hope? What is that on Ron Powell's
I thought he was
face?
desperate several weeks ago in a press conference following a ball game when he came out and said, hey, the season's over, we're horrible, Notre Dame's finished for the year. But that's the kind of statement he needs to make for his teammates to rally around and for his coaching staff to go out and recruit. There are a lot of bold pitchers out there that want Notre Dame in it, and Notre Dame is very much alive.
I did a great job today. They looked fantastic over there in Dublin, Ireland. Let's go back to the scoreboard and start with the WAC. Utah and Rice, 37-10 in the third quarter. Huge upsets unfolding there. Washington and USC out in the Pac-10, 10-3 at the half. Cincinnati and Southern Mississippi. A win today would put Southern Miss one step closer to its first bowl bid since Brett Favre was the quarterback in 1990. They lead 14-zip in the third quarter. Vandy and Alabama, Birmingham, 31-15 the final there. Northeast Louisiana, the Indians and the Bulldogs. Mississippi State all over them today, 59-0. The Jayhawks and the Cyclones, 34-31, pretty good game. Kansas comes out on top and they go to 4-4. Baylor and Texas in the Big 12, 21-7 in the second quarter. Oklahoma State and Texas A&M is 24-19 in the fourth quarter. Oklahoma State is 4-0 at home, but 0-4 on the road this season. In the ACC, Maryland and Clemson. Maryland scores its first points in 4 meetings against Clemson, but it may not be enough. 21-3 in the third quarter. Out in the Pac-10, Arizona and Cal, 21-21, knotted there in the third quarter. And how about Army, Craig James?
Yeah, Army's got that Ronnie McKay at quarterback. They're a serious group of guys out there, 8-0 on the season.
And 41-21 there. And Ball State and Eastern Michigan, 21-12 at the half. More highlights to come here on CBS. Glad you're with us on this college football afternoon.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me.
I just adore a penthouse view. Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
Explorer. It's at home anywhere.
Jimmy, light up the court.
And hit the radio, man.
Every day, car batteries are put to the test. And every day, America's most trusted lives up to its name. Die Hard. Tried and true.
At Michelin, we believe a tire that's just good in the rain isn't good enough. The Michelin X1, with a 6-year, unlimited mileage tread life warranty, is the one tire that gives you better wet traction than any rain tire, plus Michelin control in most driving conditions. After all, it hasn't rained that much in years. The Michelin X1.
What building at the University of Georgia is larger than Sanford Stadium? It's the Ramsey Student Center for Physical Activities. Each day, 7,000 UGA students enjoy America's largest and most modern student physical recreation and research facility. Serving the whole student, the University of Georgia.
There'll be no debate. NASCAR's Grand Nationals and Truck Series winners will settle it on the Speedway. A fast and furious fight to the finish at the season finales on CBS.
Hey, welcome back to College Football Today Ford Halftime Report. I'm Pat O'Brien along with Craig James. And Craig, we do have some top 25 action later today. Number 3, Florida State takes on Georgia Tech, and 24th ranked Auburn hosts Arkansas.
Yeah, let's circle this one here, right here. Georgia Tech hosting Florida State. It's going to be a rout, but this is, once again, it is stats day. Remember when I told you about that stats day? If you're going to get in a Heisman race, you got to do a great job in November, and Warwick Dunn must go out and perform. People remember what you're doing in November.
Well, they do. Idle this week are number 10 Alabama and 12th ranked LSU, who will play next week in a game which will likely decide the SEC West champion. Number 14 Kansas State. K-State is also off today. Let's go right to the scoreboard. Ohio State made a statement today. They're going to try to run the table this year. 45-0 the final there, and too much caffeine.
You're just now figuring out they're going to try to run the table. That's pretty perceptive of you. Stanley Jackson, kind of a rough day. 7-0, though, as a starter. Nice job chasing downfield, finding opportunities for him. But his replacement came in and really did an excellent job. Joe Germain to fullback Matt Calhoun for the short pass and the touchdown. A lot of diversification in that offense.
And a lot of weapons here, including a linebacker named Andy Katzenmoyer.
A freshman, a true freshman wearing Archie Griffin's number 45. Pretty bold statement right there. He will eventually be a Butkus candidate. Not only that, but maybe a winner of that award before he leaves college.
OSU had 4 turnovers today. They still win as Pepe Pearson rushed for a $123 and 2 touchdowns there. Nebraska and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's worst loss ever, 73-21 the final. They tried to circle the wagons, but, quote, it did not work.
Guess not. Ralph Brown steps in front of the receiver, picks it off Eric Moore's pass. 83 yards later, touchdown. Nebraska's defense showed up to play. Oklahoma's offense, they couldn't spell offense today. Oklahoma's defense really did an admirable job early on, but, man, they had no help from their offense, and eventually Nebraska just wore them down.
Dear Nebraska fans, who said Scott Frost couldn't pass?
And not only that, I mean, he went to the shotgun formation today. Nebraska in the shotgun formation. This pass here to Lance Brown downfield, beautiful strike. Better than Tommy Frazier could have ever done, at least consistently.
And Nebraska's still wondering why Arizona State was on their schedule. They beat Oklahoma 73-21. Tennessee and South Carolina, 31-14 the final there. Peyton Manning had 362 yards passing and 2 touchdowns today. And here he is.
Really a strong player. Play action pass downfield to Andy McCullough, 48-yard score. You know, when you've got a running game, you get the passing game, you get the touch and finesse. Manning just too much.
Nobody likes to play football in November more than Tennessee. This is their 20th straight win in November, 31-14, the final there. Two schools who hate each other maybe more than anybody, North Carolina and NC State. Friendly hate, though, 52-20, the final there. And Coach, well, that's not Coach Mac Brown, but he's a coach of something, right?
Yeah, he chews food like Coach Brown does. I'm kidding. I like Coach Mac. Hey, here's a punt from NC State. Back in their end zone, kicks it out deep to Leon Johnson. Johnson's the running back from North Carolina, one of the best to ever play at North Carolina. And this one here, one of 4 touchdowns on the day for the big man. And Chris Keldorf, an awesome day for him throwing the ball. Can you imagine North Carolina leads the ACC in passing yards per game? That hasn't happened since 1963.
The Battle of North Carolina goes to North Carolina. The Battle of Michigan goes to Michigan quite handedly at the Big House, 45-29 the final there. And Michigan State brought a 3-game winning streak to Ann Arbor, but it didn't work.
Now, late in the first half, Sky Dreisbach, guy you can't pronounce, drops back, fires over the middle of the tight end. Jeremy Tooman for a 16-yard touchdown pass. Then, after Michigan State fumbled the ensuing kickoff, Dreisbach finds Charles Woodson, the two-way player, the Deion Sanders lookalike, goal line touchdown, 28-10 lead at halftime. They went on to rout them.
Dreisbach had 4 touchdown passes on the day.
Well
the Big
done.
East, Miami beat Temple 54-26. The Owls hung in there for a while, but it wasn't enough. 54-26 the final there. The Illini and the Hawkeyes of Iowa. Iowa wins 31-21. Cedric Shaw had 59 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. Southwestern Louisiana and the Hokies go on to win at 47-16. Wisconsin and Purdue 33-25 the final there. Ron Dane had 2 touchdowns and 244 yards rushing. Dartmouth and Harvard 6-3 in a defensive battle there. And that final, Princeton and Columbia. Columbia unbeaten at 6-0, loses its first one of the season by 3, 14-11. Penn and Yale 20-3. Penn wins its first Ivy League game of the year, beating the Bulldogs 20-3 there. Miami of Ohio and Brown first, I'm sorry. Brown still a factor in the Ivy, 31-21, 35-21 the final there. Miami of Ohio and Toledo, 27-7 the final there. Miami State guys, Central Michigan and Kent, 52-51. A lot of offense and a close, nice game there. And the Bobcats of Ohio zeroed the Broncos of Western Michigan, 38-0. We'll have more college football in a moment.
The College Football Today Ford Division Halftime Report is sponsored by Ford Division.
When it comes to universities, what matters most? Teaching? Research? Public service? When it comes to universities, what matters most is performance. The University of Florida.
After one half of play, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party is turned into a Florida rout. Danny Werfel, 16 of 22, 279 yards, and 4 touchdown passes already. And we've got another half to go. 34-0, the second half coming up.
You've been thinking about getting a digital satellite dish. And thinking some more. Well, think about this. The people at Radio Shack can answer your questions. Plus, now they've got great deals. Own an RCA brand DSS dish with programming for about $1 a day plus installation. Up to 200 channels of select movies and sports available on USSB and DirecTV. Think about it. Better yet, stop thinking about it. Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers.
Trying to quit smoking cold turkey is like falling off a cliff. Suddenly, there's nothing holding you up. But Nicorette gum was my lifeline. It let me down gently, one craving at a time, till I needed less and less and less, and none. Listen, if quitting is a cliff, Nicorette is a parachute.
If you want to stop smoking, Nicorette gum can increase your chance of success by helping control your cravings. And now it's available without a prescription. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Trust. We are not born with an instinct to trust. Trust must be earned. Trust must be proven. We earn it with integrity. We prove it with sound advice. Trust is the ultimate measure of our success. And at Dean Witter, we measure success one investor at a time.
Monday, Cosby's in for a little probe.
You can watch the entire thing if you want on this monitor.
I can see the game
if it's played in your colon.
I don't mind watching the Jets.
CBS Big Comedy Monday.
We're set to begin the third quarter of play with Florida leading Georgia 34-0. I'm Gus Johnson along with Terry Donahue. And Terry, what does Jim Donnan tell his team? What does Jim Donnan's team do down 34-0 after one half of play?
Well, one thing you have to do at this point, you have to take your team in the locker room and say, look, fellas, we're building for the future. Let's go out and play for respectability. Let's go out and see if we can be competitive. Make some first downs, move the chains, generate some points perhaps. The other thing that Jim Donnan has to consider, he has to consider a possible quarterback change. Everybody needs hope in football. It's the most important element you have as a player or as a coach. You have to have hope. A quarterback change sometimes gives you that. Mike Bobo is not to blame for all of Georgia's problems by a long shot. But if he comes in here and really struggles to start in the second half, I wouldn't be surprised to see Donnan make a change.
Georgia receiving the football to start the second half, and this one going right out of the end zone. And numbers in the first half overwhelmingly in the favor of the Florida Gators. Danny Werfel, just a dynamic job. 279 yards passing. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, and it's been all Florida.
Well, 363 yards total offense. A lot of teams play a whole game and get to that number. Here Florida is in the first half, and they could go well beyond 600 yards if they really want to today.
In Florida's last outing, they had over 600 yards against Auburn. Here's Bobo on the first play of the second half, and the trap play is smelled out perfectly by the Gators. Torrin Kirksey running the football. Mike Moten in on the tackle.
One of the reasons that Florida is so hard to defend is they have different kinds of formations. This is what they call Emery and Henry. They spread players out across the width of the field, thin your defense out, and then run superior athletes down the middle of that defense. And Werfel puts the ball where he needs to. Touchdown, Florida.
No gain on the last play. Second down and 10. Play action. Bobo rolling. Got rid of it. And it's dropped by Larry Brown. And it goes out of bounds. Incomplete pass. Mike Peterson coming up and delivering a blow on Larry Brown.
Mike Bobo came out on a naked bootleg, and he delivers the ball. Larry Brown has it. He needs to just put it away. He had it in his hands. Again, I go back. Not everything is Bobo's fault with the Georgia offense. He's got to be able to count on players like Larry Brown to come up with those receptions so you can make some first downs.
5 of 15, 58 yards. The Gators held Auburn quarterback Damian Craig to 7 of 28 and 82 yards passing last week, 2 weeks ago rather, in Gainesville. Bobo out of the gun. Plenty of time. Juan Daniel catch at the 35, gets up to the 40, make it the 41-yard line.
You know, a lot of people don't understand why you keep playing in football. Well, that's part of it. You're down 34-0. As a coaching staff, as players, you want to keep competing, and that's exactly what Juan Daniels is doing here. And you notice Bobo. Here he has time. He can get planted. He can let that ball go. That's key for a quarterback, too. How well is that offensive line protecting him so he can get his confidence so that he's able to release that ball?
Daniels was the #1 receiver on this team last year with 46 catches for 726 yards. And here's Kirksey running the football over the 40-yard line. And to start the second half, Robert Edwards, who fumbled the ball twice, losing one in the first half of play, has not seen the field yet.
You know, I marvel a little bit at Florida. Here they are with 3 defensive linemen out of the game. So they're playing with all backups except for one, Reggie McGrew. And Georgia has been unable to run the football against this front. So you know that the depth and the quality of the players that Florida is able to put up there is substantial.
Bobo again, short drop, looking to the far side, and Corey Allen cradles the football, and he'll be close to midfield. Shea Showers covering for the Gators. On the sidelines, warming up right now for Florida, Brian Schottenheimer, the backup quarterback, along with Doug Johnson.
I think this is an important drive for Georgia, just for their own peace of mind, if you will. If they can put together some first downs, if they can convert on this third down, get a few more first downs, they can start to regain some confidence that's been shattered by this Florida team.
Third down and 3. Courtesy, and a flag has been thrown prior to the snap. Looks like somebody on the Georgia offensive line got caught moving. Larry Brown, the tight end.
Larry Brown just kind of flinched. You cannot move when you're an offensive lineman.
Ball start against the offense.
You know, these are the things that have plagued Jim Donnan throughout the season. He's been frustrated with penalties but more importantly, interceptions. The turnovers are what has taken his offensive team out of a lot of advantageous field positions. Georgia hasn't had a lot of penalties throughout the year, but boy, the turnovers, fumbles, and interceptions have killed them.
And a lot of the blame is rested on the shoulders of Mike Bobo, but he has had 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 years. Jim Donnan taking over as the head coach and offensive coordinator this season, implementing another new system. That time, Mike Moten giving pressure to...
This is a perfect example. Mike Moten is a backup defensive lineman, and he's able to exert pressure on the quarterback where the quarterback doesn't have that feeling of freedom so that he can just get that ball released and get it downfield.
How long, Terry, does it really take for a quarterback to start understanding a system?
Well, I think also...
This one off the side of the foot of Dax Langley. We'll get to that in a moment. 11:54 to go, 34-0 Florida.
We've shown you Prego is better than Ragu Old World style. Now here's a thought on why. Prego adds diced tomatoes, Ragu only paste. So Prego's more like homemade. No wonder people prefer Prego almost 2 to 1. Prego homemade taste, it's in there.
All across the nation, people are asking the same question. Where's Candace?
I don't know what happened to her. All I did was show her how I count my dimes. 1 minute, 2 minutes.
It's Sprint's dime a minute thing, man. It's so totally popular, she's gone into hiding.
Now comes news that Sprint's made it even better.
Now you can get 10 cents a minute 24 hours a day to the number you call the most.
Well, that's great news, but will we ever see Candace again?
Don't hold your breath.
Call now for 10 cents a minute 24 hours a day to the number you call the most.
CBS Sports coverage of college football is sponsored by Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. And by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be.
11:54 remaining in the third quarter, 34-0 Florida on top of Georgia, and this series one of the hottest in the country. And Georgia comes into the game leading the series 44-28, 92-year history.
Steve Spurrier was very aware of the substantial lead Georgia has in the series. In fact, one of the motivating factors for his players was that exact same thing.
Elijah Williams bouncing it outside at the 30-yard line, and Williams finally collared and brought down at the 23.
Got to give the offensive line of Florida a lot of credit. They're able to protect Werfel when he's throwing. They're also able to get a real push in the front of that offensive line. The offensive line of Florida has been an underrated element of this team all season long.
Dwayne Mobley with the great block, the fullback to spring Elijah Williams on that play. Gain of 33 yards. First down at 10 from the 23. Williams, 9 carries, 90 yards. Inside handoff on the reverse to Jacquez Green, and he's dragged down immediately. Brian Jones, the linebacker, makes the tackle.
Jacquez might have gotten hurt a little bit on that play. He's limping off. Looked like he hurt an ankle or a leg there.
Now, Florida, Steve Spurrier is trying to tie the all-time record for most consecutive wins by a school in this rivalry with his 7th straight. Georgia, under Wally Butts, won 7 straight from 1941 to 48. And there was no game in 43 because of the war.
Great rivalries usually go in streaks.
2nd down and 6. Here's a yo-yo play. Werfel over the middle. This is Elijah Williams trying to break outside of the corner of the end zone. And he will be down at the 1. 18-yard gain, but there is a flag on the play.
Steve Spurrier is one of the masters of the unexpected. It's part of his coaching genius. He just pulls plays out of the hat, so to speak, and all of a sudden you get something. I think a lot of that he learned when he played for and coached.
Holding against the offense. Penalty is 10 yards. Spot the foul. Repeat the down.
When he played and coached under Pepper Rogers. Pepper Rogers was Spurrier's quarterback coach when he was a freshman and sophomore, and then at Georgia Tech, Spurrier worked for Pepper Rogers. Pepper Rogers was a master of the unexpected, and I think Spurrier learned from that. And the interesting thing, when they played each other in the USFL, Pepper, the first time they played, he scored first against Spurrier, onside kick. The next game, Spurrier started the game with an onside kick. He wasn't going to be outdone.
2nd down and 21 from the 34-yard line. Werfel in trouble, and he's down at the 35. Jason Ferguson with his 6th sack of the season, and we talked in our open about Ferguson and Jermaine Smith really haven't called their names very much today.
They really haven't had a lot of plays this afternoon because of the great play of that Florida offensive line. But on that particular occasion, Jason Ferguson got the heat on Werfel. They're going to be excited about that in Georgia.
3rd down and 21. 10:18 to go in the 3rd quarter from the Georgia 34-yard line.
Werfel checked off.
And a flag. Play clock running down again, and as you said earlier, Terry, they have been a little sluggish in terms of getting to the line of scrimmage, recognizing what's happening, and getting the play off.
Well, Danny Werfel does a lot in this offense. Steve Spurrier gives him a great deal of flexibility.
Delay against the offense, 5 yards, repeat the down.
And as a result, he's always trying to get to an ideal play. He sees a particular coverage, particular receiver who may be locked up man-to-man, and Werfel has the flexibility to try and get there. And sometimes the clock does run out, but the big plays they make by doing that far and away outweigh any kind of penalties they receive.
6th penalty of the game for Florida, covering 54 yards. Werfel trying to get outside. He'll throw it towards the end zone, and it's broken up at the last moment at the goal line. Glenn Ford breaking up the play for Georgia, and there is a flag down on the play.
Well, I think we have a chance to have offsetting penalties here. I believe Florida was holding, and that's going to be a personal foul on Georgia.
Looks like the personal foul may go against Ramon Cooper, a backup defensive lineman, walk-on, who has gotten some playing time this season. As Danny Werfel showed his ability to get outside.
Werfel can scramble better than people give him credit for, and he's able to avoid rushes and has made a lot of big plays this season by doing exactly that, using his mobility.
Werfel, 6'2", 209, 4'6", 4'7", 40-yard dash. He can run.
Play, holding against the offense, penalized 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and a dead ball personal foul against the defense, which will be 15 yards and an automatic first down.
So Gator fans rejoice on that call. Automatic first down for Florida.
You just want to make sure if you're Georgia, you don't lose your poise. You're playing the #1 team in the country. You're building a program under a new coach. You just want to keep competing. You don't want to lose your poise.
First down from the 38-yard line for the Gators. Elijah Williams, second man through, spinning, and a nice piece of running by Elijah Williams. Spun off of a tackle and finally ridden down at the 34-yard line by Corey Johnson.
Florida is a very deep team at tailback. They can play with Elijah Williams, Fred Taylor, Terry Jackson. It really doesn't matter. But Elijah Williams is a tough, hard-nosed competitor. And right here, he does it on his own. Picks up about 4 or 5 yards with extra effort.
10 carries, 94 yards for Williams. Looking for his third straight 100-yard game. Werfel in trouble, and he's slung down at the 45. Jason Ferguson, his second straight sack.
Now, Jason Ferguson must have heard us talking about him, because all of a sudden he's turned his game up a notch and been able to put the pressure on Werfel. Jason Ferguson overpowers Corey Yarborough, number 62, the right guard. Just can't really handle that big of a physical man. Right there at the burst to the quarterback. Excellent play.
Jason Ferguson, a junior college transfer out of Itawamba Community College in Mississippi. Last year when he came into camp, only had 10 days to get ready to play in his first game. Third down, 18. Werfel over the middle, and it's broken up. Greg Bright got a hand on it and knocked it away, but there is a flag on the play. Nafis Kareem, the intended receiver. Champ Bailey almost coming up with an interception.
Ignore the flag. The ball was tipped.
Nafis Kareem is one of the players who has an opportunity today because of the suspension of Ike Hilliard to get onto the playing field and show his skill.
Greg Bright making the defensive play for Georgia, and Robbie Stevenson comes on to punt for the first time today from the 41-yard line. Chris McCraney back deep. He's got it at the 10, trying to run to his right, and not a lot of room for McCraney as Ross makes the tackle. 7:49 to go. 34-0 Florida.
Take a stroll down memory lane at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
You crushed my knee. Was your toes. You broke my ribs.
It was your nose.
Ah, yes. I remember it well. You sacked me once.
I sacked you twice.
In pouring rain.
No, it was nice.
Ah, yes.
But when you go, don't forget your Visa card, because the Hall takes the NFL's best, but not American Express.
See ya, Nitschke.
It's Butkus.
Ah, yes.
Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Now, with 50% more tender filet than before, McDonald's new Fish Filet Deluxe is sure to satisfy your grown-up needs and desires. For lunch. It's McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
A powerful drug cartel holds America hostage with the ultimate killing machine. Only Chuck Norris can stop them.
Let's do it, man to man.
On Walker, CBS tonight.
7:49 remaining in the third quarter. Florida leading 34-0. Georgia with the football at the 12-yard line. Gus Johnson along with Terry Donahue, and the #1 ranked Florida Gators came out, did not score on their opening drive for the first time this season, but proceeded to score 3 straight touchdowns in the first half. Here's Kirksey. Straight ahead up to the 25. And let's check in with Pat O'Brien in New York on Arizona State.
All right, Gus, Arizona State once down 14-6, finally getting it together against Oregon State here. Marlon Farlow scores at a 3-yard run. Give ASU a 22-14 lead. Wildcats 8-0, trying to go to 9-0, undefeated, and play in the Rose Bowl. That's their goal. Let's go back to Gus.
And thank you very much, Pat. First down and 10 from the 25. Kirksey again, and he's gone the entire distance thus far in the second half. Soren Kirksey had 3 100-yard games after Robert Edwards went out last year with an injury. And the standings in the East, Florida running the table, 5-0 in the SEC, 7-0 overall, followed by Tennessee, South Carolina.
And you know, Tennessee still has hopes of trying to meet up with Florida once again this year. If everything were to break a particular way, there is a scenario where that could happen.
1-yard gain on the last play. Here's Kirksey, popping it outside up to the 35, and finally ushered out of bounds at the 37 by James Bates. Now, while the East is already locked up with Florida, the West is still pretty wide open. Alabama, LSU, both at 4-1. Auburn 3-2. Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. Alabama, LSU will play next weekend.
That'll be a great game down there. Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. Soren Kirksey, a good job running the football here in the second half. Another first down at the 37. Kirksey spinning, and he'll be lucky to get 1, possibly 2 yards. Prior to that run, 9 carries, 47 yards for Kirksey. And he was suspended for the Tennessee game for breaking team rules. That is a solid running back. And obviously right now, Robert Edwards in Jim Donnan's doghouse because he has not played in the second half after fumbling the ball twice during the first half.
Jim has been disappointed in Robert Edwards thus far this season. He's made some good plays, but not as many as they expected him to.
Larry Brown at the 50, finally chopped down at the 40-yard line by Shea Showers. And Larry Brown almost had a touchdown in the first half, gain of 21 there, but it was called off because of a penalty.
Well, Mike Bobo working the ball to the tight end, Larry Brown. Larry Brown's a big physical receiver, 6'5". As you mentioned, a former basketball player, played in the NCAA tournament. When he turns it down the field, he can punish it. Look at Mike Bobo. He's happy. Quarterbacks like to get some success. You want this kid to be successful. He shows great courage even playing after that fractured knee.
Larry Brown, 2 catches, 27 yards. Patrick pass. Just thrown out of bounds by Lawrence Wright. No flags on the play. Patrick Pass, a freshman, a true freshman out of Tucker, Georgia. Here's a kid that they are very excited about. Comes into the game with 33 carries for over 200 yards, and he signed a baseball contract with the Florida Marlins right out of high school. Drafted in the 44th round, and as a matter of fact, he was one of the top tailbacks in the nation last year, and Coach Jim Donnan, they get him in a sense as a walk-on. The Marlins are paying for his education.
That's a heck of a walk-on to have on your squad. Jim Donnan really likes this young Patrick Pass. They think he can be potentially a big play guy in their offense, and they're looking forward to his development. He's just very young. He has to mature and get used to this level of competition, but they're real high on him for the future.
Pass played in the Marlins Instructional League this past year. He's an outfielder. And there's Robert Edwards standing on the sidelines. 9 carries, 34 yards. Under 5 to go. 3rd down and 5 from the 36. Patrick Pass trying to glide through the hole. He'll get down inside the 35 to the 34. Mike Boat in on the play again, along with Anthony Mitchell. So Halloween still being celebrated, I guess, here in Jacksonville. 4th down and 3. Bobo rolling. And he'll go down. Mike Bobo just swarmed under at the 42-yard line. Johnny Rutledge.
Well, we've certainly heard Johnny Rutledge's name before this play. The speed of the Florida defense is such a factor. They are able to cover you man-to-man and then blitz their linebackers. He comes off the backside for the sack.
Is your dandruff sending the wrong signals? Get Selsun Power. Doctors recommend Selsun Blue #1, so don't send the wrong signals. Get Selsun Power.
There's a medical emergency, but no hospital. What do you do? Build one. Leadership. Learn it now in the Army Reserve. Use it now in your career.
The CBS Star of College Football Today is sponsored by Nissan, who remind you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride.
Nobody loves to play football more in November than the Volunteers of Tennessee, and their quarterback today had a huge day. His name, of course,
Peyton Manning. You're not the only star of the day around here, Pat. This guy had an awesome performance. Last week against Alabama, he didn't personally mess up, didn't have a great game, but he didn't throw a lot of interceptions to kill his team. Today, on target again, and I said early on he was going against a good pass defense in South Carolina. A very tough challenge for him today. Didn't make a mistake and had a humongous day.
Peyton Manning, our étoile du jour. Back to the game.
Pat O'Brien, 34-0. Danny Werfel, his day may be finished. He leaves 16 of 28 for 279 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, replaced by Brian Schottenheimer. And on first down, Fred Taylor running the football, and Schottenheimer 183 yards passing on the season, 12 of 21 touchdown, no interceptions. He transferred from Kansas. He is the son of Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, but transferred to Florida because he wants to be a coach and wanted to learn the fun and gun offense from Steve Spurrier.
Well, what a great opportunity. And not only that, now he gets playing time on the #1 team in the country. Can't get much better than that.
First down from the 46. This time Terry Jackson running the football. He'll find a hole and get over the 40-yard line down to the 38. Alanda Sims.
Terry Jackson has played defense today. Now he's in playing tailback. He can play fullback. Terry Jackson, to me, is one of the best football players on the Florida team. He runs over linebackers. He'll punish you when he runs. And inside the 10-yard line, that's where Steve Spurrier really likes to put him in the game, because oftentimes there's an unblocked defender, and he'll run right over the top of him.
And you see Jackson wearing number 22, not because of Emmitt Smith, but his dad and brother played here at Florida, both wearing number 22.
Sometimes a number just belongs to a family, Gus, and in this case, that's certainly the case with number 22.
It's some pretty good company. Willie, Senior, Junior, Terry, and Emmett. First down from the 32, as Jackson, considered one of the most talented athletes on this team, with his ability to play both offense and defense. Here's the delayed handoff. Jackson again with some room. He'll get to the 15. Corey Johnson wrapping him up. A gain of 15 yards for Terry Jackson.
You know, you go back to the principle of Steve Spurrier, how he plays offense. People think of him just as a passing coach. Not so. Florida is able to run the ball against every opponent they play. Terry Jackson, Elijah Williams, Fred Taylor, it doesn't really matter. They get great blocking from their fullbacks, Mobley and Evans, but those three guys carry the bulk of the work here for the Florida Gators.
3 carries, 30 yards for Terry Jackson. First down from the 16-yard line. Schottenheimer on the roll, in trouble, tried to duck under, but it's dragged down from behind. Chris Terry, the sophomore out of Jacksonville, held on to make the tackle.
Schottenheimer came out on a naked bootleg where he's unprotected, and he just needs to try to fool the defensive end, Chris Terry, number 84. Terry plays it perfectly, and then Schottenheimer just avoids the spear right there. Lucky.
Lose 5 yards, second down and 15 from the 21. Jamie Richardson in at receiver now for Florida, lined up on the near side. Here's Jackson, and he's taken to the ground at the 22-yard line. Greg Wright, the middle linebacker, in on the play.
You know, a lot of people felt coming into this game that if Florida mounted a substantial lead against Georgia, that Steve Spurrier would try to put 70 points on them, but that's not the case. Schottenheimer's in the game. Spurrier's keeping the ball on the ground. He has respect, I think genuine respect for Jim Donnan. He knows Donnan right now is building a program. He doesn't have the same kind of athletes Florida has, but yet he wants his players to continue to play.
Schottenheimer swinging it out. Jackson at the 10-yard line. Kirby Smart there to tackle him, and another big pickup, this time 11 yards. Great touch on this ball from Schottenheimer to Jackson.
It's good to see Schottenheimer hit this little swing pass. It looks easy when you watch quarterbacks lay the ball off, but it's hard to throw that kind of particular pass. It's an art form. It's a very difficult throw. I've stood on the practice field and watched that pass fall incomplete countless times.
So that's the end of the third quarter with the score, Florida leading Georgia 34-0. We'll return to Jacksonville Municipal Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
Designed Nissan Maxima. It's attracting a lot of attention.
CBS, welcome home.
The Accord has remarkable road-holding capabilities. Its price, however, is very much down to earth. Right now, you can lease a Honda Accord LX for $239 a month for 24 months and a $750 down payment. The 97 Accord LX. See one right side up at your Honda dealer.
There's a source for all of your words to travel through. One simple, powerful source, Bell South. We're bringing together every kind of technology, local and long distance, internet access, wireless, yellow pages, interactive and beyond. One single source that connects your words in every way, because a word can have many meanings, but it means nothing until it's shared. Bell South.
I was there, fighting the fight, voting against Medicare. We're going to eliminate the Department of Education.
Why should the federal government be getting into family leave? I'm not certain what everybody's looking for in a candidate for president. Maybe just do not have any at all. Just leave it vacant. But there's going to be one. Every country ought to have one. And so we're out here campaigning.
You may buy your Toyota 6 Series forklift because it gives you more uptime, but you'll rest easy on the comfortable seat. You'll be surprised at the increased head and leg room and the superior visibility. You'll love the low-effort controls, fuel efficiency, unbeatable service, and Toyota reliability. Isn't it time you gave your business a lift? For more information, contact your local Toyota Industrial Equipment dealer at Handling Systems Engineering, Inc., 904-764-7662.
Michael Jordan, we got him good. Monday's Oprah.
We begin the fourth quarter with Florida comfortably ahead as Bart Edmiston comes in to attempt a 28-yard field goal. And the kick is up, and it is good. Edmiston, 7 of 11 on the season. And Florida adds to their lead, 37-0.
A lot of people my age set off on cruises around the world. Now, I set off on a second career. Hi, guys. Of course, my Dean Witter broker's impeccable investment advice prepared me for any sort of retirement I chose. And I chose to start over with a business of my own.
Wait a minute, are you sure you're old enough to be here?
That's my idea of a fascinating adventure.
At Dean Witter, we measure success one investor at a time.
Bullwinkle, we passed by here an hour ago.
Where's here? I thought we were there.
Bullwinkle.
Oh,
Okay, it's enough TV for today.
Yeah.
Let's go for a ride.
Yeah, come on, we're out of here.
Dad, where are we going?
This better be good.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, honey. See that? See? That's cool.
When are we gonna be there?
Stop, wait!
Dad, can we take him home?
Ford Explorer, because the world's too big to be left unexplored.
We're there.
CBS Sports coverage of college football is sponsored by Selsun Blue. Doctors recommended #1 for dandruff, Selsun Blue. And by Dean Witter. There are many ways to measure success. We measure it one investor at a time.
And welcome back to Jacksonville, where the Florida Gators are on top 37-0 in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Matt Teague, former walk-on, kicking it off, and this one going into the end zone, and Torrin Kirksey will take a knee, and they will start from the 20-yard line. Let's go back to New York and our Pat O'Brien.
All right, Gus, recapping that Notre Dame game, they took a 21-7 halftime lead after Autry Denson on a 33-yard run went on to beat Navy for the 33rd consecutive time. Well, they look good today, 54-27 in Dublin. Join CBS next Saturday at 3:30 for more college football action. That's Eastern time, and you will see Notre Dame take on the Eagles of Boston College. Some areas will see a showdown between Tennessee and Memphis. Let's go back to Gus.
And thank you very much, Pat. 37-0. Georgia with the football at the 20-yard line, and
you know, that was a big win by Notre Dame today against Navy. When you think about that game, they lost to the Air Force. The pressure was on Notre Dame to perform, and they did.
And our series here, Georgia, they've dropped 6 straight to Florida as the Gators go after a series tying 7th straight win. First down and 5. Patrick pass. Dipping through the hole, and he'll get to the 30-yard line.
Pass carries.
Mike Peterson, the outside linebacker, making the play.
Tackled by number 90, Mike Wilson. Number 29, Mike Peterson. Good for a Bulldog first down.
And when you talk about these two teams, Terry, despite one team being up, the other being down, Florida, they're really concerned with closing the series record.
No question. This is the biggest rival that Florida has, is Georgia, and they want to make sure that they close that gap. And Steve Spurrier was very aware and talked about it openly. I asked him, how are you going to get your team emotionally ready for this game? He said, hey, we got to close the gap on Georgia. We've won 6 in a row, but we've got to close that gap.
And looking at Steve Spurrier, I mean, Terry, you've been around college football for years. What makes this guy so special? What has he really brought to the college football game that's different from what other people have brought in the past?
Well, I'll respond right after this play, Gus.
2nd down and 9 from the 31. Bobo again, this time to the near side. Corey Allen with the catch at the 35.
Now, Steve Spurrier is different than most guys in the country. He sits on the sideline and he feels the game. He wears a headset but doesn't get a whole lot of information from the press box. He likes to call the game, and Spurrier sees and feels the game from the sideline, and he conveys that to his quarterback. He is on exactly the same page with Danny Wuerffel, and Wuerffel's on the same page with the quarterbacks. And that, I mean, with the wide receivers, and that is what makes him such an outstanding coach. And he's not afraid to do the unexpected. Like I mentioned, he'd onside kick to start a game with. I don't know many coaches who would ever do that. To start a game an onside kick, I just don't know many.
3rd down and 4. Patrick pass, breaking through the hole and over the 45 up to the 47-yard line. That's a 1st down. Mike Harris making the tackle after a gain of 11.
Patrick Pass is going to blossom as a Georgia Bulldog running back. He's a strong, powerful player. He's got vision. He's not afraid to put his pads on you. As he develops, as he gets older and a little more mature, a little more experience, he's going to be one of the future stars for Georgia.
Picks up a 1st down at the 48-yard line now for the Bulldogs, and this is Curtsey running around the right side. Mike Peterson there to tackle him. And let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, guys, another traditional part of this rivalry is Larry Munson, who's been the voice of the Georgia Bulldog Athletics. He's the guy on the right of your screen there. He's been with Georgia for 30 years. He's legendary. Most Bulldog fans consider him as important a part of the football program as any player who's ever played here. Now, insiders say he doesn't do this job for the money. He does it out of loyalty. And, you know, he won't tell people how old he is, but we understand he's 75.
75 years old. Patrick Pass running the football again. Go ahead, Michelle.
All I was going to say, Gus, is it's fitting that he turned 75 this year, since this series is 75 games old, or I guess it's 74 games old if you ask the Gators, right?
Gus, we hope we're doing football when we're 75, right?
That's true. That's true. Long way to go for both of us.
Yeah, a lot longer for you than me, unfortunately.
Under 12 to play in the football game. 37-0 Florida. Georgia with the ball at the Gators 32. Out of the I formation. They give it to the deep back. This is pass. Hit at the line of scrimmage. He'll spin forward and pick up about 3 or 4 yards. Mike Peterson with the tackle.
You like to see Mike Bobo out there still leading the troops. He hasn't had a great day. He's been under severe pressure, but he's still competing, and that's what you like to see when you're coaching a team. You want to see the leadership in the quarterback when things aren't going well.
2nd down and 7 from the 29-yard line. They pitch it. Curtsey running towards the near sideline. And he'll be tackled at the 22-yard line. Dwayne Thomas making the hit. And Mike Bobo, his dad George coached Mike at Thomasville High School in Thomasville, Georgia, and he quit to take a head coaching job at Armuchee High School to be closer to his son, have an opportunity to see Mike develop. And his dad was quoted as saying, "Hey, I've been watching other people's kids for 20 years. I want to spend some time watching my own."
Well, it's not often when you have a son that gets to play for the University of Georgia, University of Florida. When that happens, you need to go watch him and have some fun and enjoy him. It's hard to play college football. So many good athletes come out of high school. Very few get to play at this level.
And Mike Bobo fractured his knee versus Ole Miss last year. Started the first 4 games and was among the nation's top 5 in passing. Numbers really good last year, but this season he struggled. That knee still giving him some problems. Here's Torrin Kirksey trying to spin off tackle and get downfield. Stood up, Shea Showers.
It's not only his knee that's given him some trouble, Gus. He has struggled with the offense. In fact, he went to his father, called his father because he was frustrated, and his dad said, hey, just get into the film room, study harder, you'll eventually grasp the offense. It's not easy for a quarterback when you've had 2 or 3 different offensive coordinators. It takes time. You asked me that question earlier. How long does it take? Every system's a little different, but it takes time to grasp the techniques and concepts that the head coach is trying to instill in the team.
2nd down and 7. Kirksey hopping through the hole, and he'll get down to the 10. Mike Harris. Georgia trying to put something together to possibly qualify for a bowl. Losing that game to Kentucky last week really hurt them. But they'll take on Auburn next week, then finish out the season against Ole Miss and Georgia Tech.
Well, Jim Donnan knows that he has his work cut out for him. He needs to be out recruiting. He needs to keep improving the talent level here at Georgia, and he will. He'll eventually get that done.
Inside handoff going to Marseille Simpson. Coach Jim Donnan, the 1967 ACC Player of the Year at NC State, and he led the Wolfpack to a 14-7 win over Georgia in the Liberty Bowl. And he's always kind of been a bridesmaid, but never a bride in terms of head coaching jobs. Here's some jobs that he missed out on: North Carolina, West Virginia, NC State.
He's got a good one now, though. And the University of Georgia is an outstanding coaching job, and he'll develop it.
Patrick Pass looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia. 9-yard run by the true freshman, Patrick Pass.
Well, Patrick Pass came out of high school. When he was in high school, he lived with a gentleman by the name of Trey Hurst, who was his legal guardian. It was his youth football coach, and this gentleman took him under his wing. Patrick stayed with him all through his high school career. He wanted to be successful as an athlete and as a student, and you watch this guy, and Jim Donnan told me yesterday, he said, this guy has talent. He's going to be very successful in the future.
Patrick Pass, the freshman, picking up a good block from Adam Meadows, and he gets in the end zone for the touchdown.
Just because something hasn't been done before, does that mean it can't be done?
The Chrysler Concorde LXI. Now receive $1,000 cash back. The Chrysler Concorde, built on the belief that anything can be done.
You've been thinking about getting a digital satellite dish. And thinking some more. Well, think about this. The people at Radio Shack can answer your questions. Plus, now they've got great deals. Like a Prime Star satellite system for only about $1 a day plus installation. 95 channels of Prime sports and movies with terrific picture and sound quality. Think about it. Better yet, stop thinking about it. Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers.
Australia's Great Barrier Reef. You don't need fins to swim under it. You don't need wings to fly over it. You don't need 4 legs to run through it. But you just might need to bring this. Because Reef Watch Air Tours, Wild Track Jeep Safaris, and Pro Sail Schooners will take you on the ride of your life. But they won't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
No witnesses. If we get caught together. I'm gonna know what happened in that house.
CBS Sunday, November 24th. In cold blood.
And back at the Jacksonville Municipal Stadium, 37-7 as Georgia mascot continues to roam the sidelines. And the scoring drive, 14 plays covering 80 yards, and the Bulldogs eat up 6 minutes and 10 seconds as Patrick Pass barrels in the end zone for a 9-yard touchdown. Jacquez Green back deep for the Gators. Ready to run it again. So Dax Langley sending it away, and this one from the 5-yard line, Jamie Richardson, redshirt freshman. And let's go back downstairs to our Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Gus. Well, this is Uga, and this is Uga 5. He's the 5th Uga in the lineage of Georgia mascots. And, you know, the way that they do this is that Uga 5 is about 6 years old. They say he has about 3 years left in his tenure. And then one of his pups will take over. And it's all stemming from the same family. Every single Uga has been related. And so someday this guy's pup will be the next Uga, and that'll be about 3 or 4 years from now. Gus?
Okay, Michelle. Uga 5. So did they have kind of like a little Bruin at UCLA that would roam the sidelines, or just...
I'll tell you, that Uga 5 is ugly. That's all I know. I've seen some offensive linemen that could rival that dog.
Second down and 6 on the way for the Gators, and Doug Johnson, the new quarterback in for Florida, replacing Brian Schottenheimer, who replaced Danny Werfel, and they consider him the quarterback of the future. Great arm, still has to learn the system, however. And with Danny Werfel preparing to lead, Brian Schottenheimer, also a senior, will get an opportunity to lead this team next season.
Well, it gives Doug Johnson a chance to get some valuable playing time, and the way you get better as a quarterback is repetitions, whether it's in practice or on the field of competition. The more reps you take, the better you get as a player. There's no question about that.
He's a Gainesville native. And in the ball game right now, leading the way. 3rd down and 6, 7:19 remaining in the 4th quarter. Out of the I formation for the Gators. Delayed handoff. Eugene McCaslin popping it outside, and he'll get down inside the 50.
Now this is the 4th-string tailback for Florida, and Eugene McCaslin hardly gets into a game, but when he does, he's a freshman. He can light them up. He's averaging 14 yards a carry, this guy, and he's playing 4th string at Florida. Gives you some indication of the depth that Florida has at that particular position.
Out of Tampa, gained 16 yards on that play. 236 yards rushing on the year, averaging close to 7 yards per pop. 1st down and 10 at the 48. Here's Johnson setting up, delivering, and he's got his man at the 32-yard line. Good strike by Doug Johnson. Richardson with the reception.
Jamie Richardson's the slot receiver on this particular play. This is a view of the future for Florida. Doug Johnson puts the ball on the money like all the Florida quarterbacks seem to do. It's a well-timed throw. Richardson comes up with a nice reception.
Jamie Richardson, 4 catches, 60 yards on the year. Picked up a 1st down at the 33. Johnson handing it off. McCaslin, he's got running room on the right side. Cuts it up at the 20. Heading for the end zone, stumbling. Oh, and he's dragged down inside the 5. He could smell the end zone right there, and he just really wanted to keep his feet.
We call that self-tackleization. That's what we used to call that, self-tackleization, when nobody made the tackle. McCaslin has all of the talent that the great backs have. He has the vision, the ability to break outside. All of a sudden, he sees that space. He hits those creases. He has a chance to put it in the end zone.
Was not touched by anybody. 3 carries, 43 yards already for McCaslin. He picked up 27 there. Let's see if Coach Spurrier will give him a second chance to score a touchdown.
Players are going to tease him. They're going to tease him about that last play. They're going to be all over him. When the films are rolling in the film room come Monday, they're going to be on him about that self-tackleization right there. Look at him.
He's still disappointed.
You're not kidding. He had a touchdown. He knows it.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
And that is the 4th delay of game penalty on the Gators today.
They have had some problems, particularly earlier when Werfel was in there trying to check some plays off. They're not in no huddle offense now. That play just came in a little late from the sideline.
First down. Here's McCaslin on the draw at the 10. McCaslin pounding his way forward, and he'll get it down to the 2-yard line.
They just keep coming at you in waves, tailback after tailback. Behind that powerful offensive line, they're able to make yards when there just doesn't seem to be any. This guy has vision.
4 carries, 51 yards for Eugene McCaslin. Second down, ball at the 3-yard line, goal to goal. And Doug Johnson,
you better hurry,
checks off. And he got the play off. McCaslin won't get much. And Florida 7-0. The #1 team in the nation, the AP top 10, followed by Ohio State. They just crushed Minnesota today, 45-0. Florida State, big matchup coming up with Florida later on during the year. And the second 5, Tennessee, Colorado, North Carolina, who's been very impressive this season, Michigan and Alabama.
Well, got a big matchup on the horizon between Nebraska and Colorado. It's going to have tremendous ramifications in terms of bowls.
And on third down, goal to goal, a flag has been thrown. It's like some movement on the offensive line.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
So Steve Spurrier has his team operating on Georgia, but down the line he's got Vandy next week in Tennessee, followed by South Carolina, and the big matchup on November 30th, Florida State.
Boy, will that be a matchup now when you put those two teams together, particularly as Florida State's offense continues to improve.
Here's McCaslin. Good job by the Georgia defense stringing that play out, and he goes down at the 5. And when you talk about Florida State and Florida,
Gus, here's the Emery and Henry formation that Florida ran earlier. It's a little different version. It's kind of a hybrid, but it's the same idea. Spread them out all over the field, try to create lanes.
So in to attempt the field goal, Bart Edmiston, a 23-yard attempt on the right hash. And it's good. Florida continues to put points on the board, now 40-7.
It began just 4 years ago. Today, the GM MasterCard proudly announces that GM card earnings have helped to buy or lease 1 million new GM cars and trucks. The GM card is also proud to be ranked highest in customer satisfaction among rewards credit cards by J.D. Power and Associates. Your key is waiting for you.
When you're selecting mutual funds, we don't recommend throwing darts. Unless, of course, this is what you're throwing at. The Select List, only from Charles Schwab. Culled from the over 350 no-load mutual funds we provide, it's an objective, easy-to-use summary of the historically high performers. For a free trial subscription, call 1-800-5-NO-LOAD. It just may help improve your aim.
The Heisman Watch, sponsored by Charles Schwab, investing the way it should be.
This is the day Craig James been waiting for all year long. People talking about Danny Werfel for the Heisman. Let's have a drum roll. Who's your pick?
Hey, the big man from Ohio State, 6'6", 360 pounds.
led the Buckeyes on the ground today, 230 yards. He wasn't running the ball, but the guy was blocking, checking him out. This guy's just going to get kind of wiped off the screen. A little bit unfair here. 330 pounds, and he's got the other guy next to him helping him out. Two guys, this is a half pancake. On the day, though, he did have 6 pancake blocks. He now has 56 big leaders on the season. 56, that's unbelievable. Can you imagine if he hit you?
As I've said all along, it's Orlando Pace. Back to the game.
Oh, you
Right there, Orlando Pace hitting Pat O'Brien, and Pat getting one of those suits dirty? No way. Can't even imagine it.
Can you imagine that big old offensive lineman coming off on you and playing defense? But Danny Werfel, you got to look at his numbers and what he's accomplished in college football. He was 3rd in the balloting last year. He's undefeated again this year. Got his team #1 in the country. He's going to be hard to beat for the Heisman.
Torrin Kirksey puts the ball on the ground, and it is recovered. It looks like Doc Pollard got it, and he did. The 3rd turnover by Georgia today.
Tony George is a big special teams player for Florida. He's one of the players that make the hit. He helped strip the ball loose. The ball's up in the air. Turnover, Georgia.
Doc Pollard making the play, and he had a very interesting job last year prior to the Fiesta Bowl. He was the scout team quarterback and given the task of impersonating Tommy Frazier.
Didn't do it very well, did he?
I'm going to let you say that. I'll let you say that.
Well, hey, who can impersonate Tommy Frazier?
Not anybody.
He's great.
Here's Johnson. Touchdown. 14-yard touchdown for Terrence Ross.
Now that's the first touchdown pass that Terrence Ross has caught this year. Those tight ends, they've come to life today in this offense. Tremaine Allen, Terrence Ross, those guys are going to be wanting more balls as the season rolls along. They're going to be in there talking to Steve Spurrier about, hey, we're catching these passes and scoring touchdowns. Get the ball to the tight end.
Just throw it to me. Edmiston with the extra point. And with 2 minutes and 23 seconds remaining, Ross and Allen, the tight ends, both have touchdowns.
Well, I was tossing and turning all night.
The Michelin X1, with a 6-year unlimited mileage tread-life warranty, gives you better wet traction than any rain tire, plus Michelin control in most driving conditions. After all, it hasn't rained that much in years.
If we all settled for good enough, would things ever be good enough?
The luxurious Chrysler LHS. Now get a lease for just $359 a month. The Chrysler LHS. This goes way beyond good enough.
I've known Sam since we both had hair. Some days his hands hurt to where he can barely tie his shoes. Oh, he'd take 2 Tylenol, but hours later he'd be hurting again. He'd have to take more. He got fed up, so his doctor said try a leave.
I could take just 2 Aleve all day. But Tylenol was taking up to 8.
So he tried a leave. Keeps his pain away up to 12 hours.
What more could you ask for?
A little more hair?
Aleve. All day strong, all day long.
It's the #1 new drama of the season. Can knowing the future save a young athlete's life?
Just change it back.
I can't. It doesn't work that way.
Early edition tonight.
Albert, he's got to do 47 push-ups. Getting a little bit of assistance there on the sidelines. 14-yard touchdown by Terrence Ross. And here is Torrin Kirksey, who fumbled on the last kickoff return, and he holds on to the ball this time and gets it over the 20-yard line. Florida came into this game averaging 52 points per game, and if they continue to score points the way they're scoring points, they could end up as the 5th most prolific scoring offense, fourth, excuse me, in history, behind Army, Houston, and Nebraska.
And the thing about it, Gus, they make it look so easy. When you watch them play, you just marvel at the speed with which they score and how easy it seems for them.
1944 Army scoring 56 points a game, and I remember when you were in college back then, you probably had a chance to see them. Brian Smith in at quarterback now.
No question about it. I mean, when you talk about some of the great teams, and I've been watching college football a long time, this Florida team can put points on you as fast as anybody that I've watched. And last year's Nebraska team had a tremendous offensive team and scored at will almost. This Florida team can do it equally as well. Do it quicker than Nebraska could. Not quite as punishing, but certainly quicker.
Second down, and Smith takes a knee. Somebody jumping off sides on the defensive line of the Gators. Brian Smith, a senior, backup quarterback, and one of the best students on this team. He's already earned his degree and will be heading for medical school next year. Had an opportunity to come in last season and start for Mike Bobo after Bobo suffered that fractured knee and won all 3 of his games against Clemson, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. Here's Pat. And don't forget tonight on CBS, it's Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, followed by Early Edition and Walker, Texas Ranger.
3rd and 7, Georgia, at their own 25-yard line.
52 seconds remaining and some dejected faces on the Georgia sideline, but they're a very young team and they have a whole lot of growing to do. 3rd down and 7 for Brian Smith. Here's Patrick Pass, the freshman. Another nice piece of running, and he falls down at the 36-yard line.
He's been impressive, Patrick Pass. He can make you miss. He can run over you. He can also make you miss.
1st and 10, Georgia, 37-yard line.
So Patrick Pass and the young Georgia Bulldogs will remember this day. And Florida will win their 7th straight ball game to tie the longest winning streak in the history of this series. Smith's going to air it out, and it's incomplete. And that is your ball game. The Florida Gators, the #1 ranked team in the nation, they remain undefeated as Danny Werfel and company go on to win it 47-7. Coming up next, Pat O'Brien in New York.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, John?
Hey, what's up, man?
Watch the curve. Yeah, we're driving like my grandma.
Yeah, and you drink like mine.
Just give me a break, man.
Watch it. The idea is to keep the car on the road.
Yeah, how about giving me another drink?
Yeah, right. I think you've had enough, Pat.
Give me the wheel. Yeah, hold on, man.
I got it, man.
Yo, man, just slow down, man. Yeah, man.
Let me tell you about giving the bell, man.
It's a final now. Florida beats Georgia at Georgia 47-7. College football Saturday here on CBS. And welcome back to our New York studios. I'm Pat O'Brien along with Craig James, who early in the day said this was going to be stats day. And I guess Danny Werfel might have been listening to you.
I think he and Peyton Manning. I mean, both these quarterbacks, in my mind, have taken control of the Heisman Trophy race. This is the month where the Heisman goes into effect. I think in a couple of weeks, the ballots go out. Most of the votes will be cast and sent right back to New York City. Werfel and Manning making a statement today that they're the 2 guys, hands down.
Yeah, they certainly are. All right, let's pick up the scoreboard right now and see how all the teams did today. Notre Dame looked awfully good today over in Dublin, beating Navy 54-27. How about Corey Meyer? Comes from the outside and blindsides the Navy QB, Ben Fay.
Another one of those high school All-Americans that comes in, and he's doing his job now. Ben Fay, Ronaldo Wynn picks up the ball, takes it in for the touchdown. The Irish rock and roll on the ground as well.
Notre Dame has high hopes again for a good bowl game with this win, 54-27, the final there. In the Big East, game still underway, about 5 minutes and 30 seconds left. Syracuse and West Virginia, there you see the Florida-Georgia score was 47-7. Florida all over Georgia, and now Syracuse, West Virginia. West Virginia's failed to score today.
West Virginia just has been abysmal, man. Their special teams let them down. Again, they lost last week, talking national championship. Here again, this time Dion Maddox takes the punt, goes 72 yards for the score. Syracuse blocked 2 punts today. Now the Orangemen have blocked or touched at least 8 different punts on the season. The Orangemen's special teams.
Can't say enough about those special teams today. 30-0 in that game in the fourth quarter and winding down. Ohio State and Minnesota. Ohio State making another statement today offensively. 45-0 was the score. Andy Katzenmoyer steps right in front of the pass here and picks it off.
Hey, you know, we're going to talk about this guy a long time, Pat. He's a true freshman. He's going to be a Butkus candidate one of these days, probably win the award, living up to his name and reputation. And the jersey he's wearing, number 45, 45-0. How about that?
And Ohio State has now won 13 in a row and 25 of the last 26 games versus Minnesota, 45-0 today. In the Pac-10, Arizona State and Oregon State, this was a little scary for Arizona State early on. They went on to win. And here's the play that turned it around in the second half.
Yeah, opening kickoff here. Comes back 100 yards. This is Terry Battle. I can't remember how many running backs we talked about today. 3 or 4 that have done things offensively and as well as on special teams. Terry ended up running for 190 yards today, 312 all-purpose yards. Terry Battle showing me in the last 2 or 3 weeks he's one of the top 5 or 6 runners in the country.
Big time today, and Arizona State remains undefeated. And are they on the way to the Rose Bowl? 29-14 was the final there. In the Big 12, Nebraska. Let me tell you something. Oklahoma's worst loss ever, 73-21. And who says Scott Frost can't throw the football?
I think he's really improved. You and I were talking about it. He's getting better each and every week. This pass here to Lance Brown. I even saw him in the shotgun formation today. I've never seen that as a fan watching Nebraska.
And he's growing into a tough spot in Lincoln right there, quarterback of the Nebraska team. He had 3 touchdown passes today. He's a hero, 73-21 there. In the SEC, another quarterback worth talking about always, Peyton Manning, 31-14 over South Carolina today. He had 362 yards passing today.
This his second touchdown of the day, connecting with Joey Kent from 20 yards out, moving Kent into the 4th time all-time in receiving in the SEC.
Tennessee wins his 20th straight November games. And how about next week against Memphis, Tennessee?
Ah, man, how ugly could that get? I mean, this is one of those deals. It's a stats day. It's going to be a stats race for Manning and Warfel. Now, the next 2 weeks really pivotal for those 2 guys. Terry Battle outshined his teammate Jake Plummer today for Arizona State. So I think that removes him from the race there. And Orlando Pace, I talk about Pace all the time. Pace is a great football player, but realistically, he's not a big offensive guy. It's going to be Manning and Warfel. I think Memphis is in trouble next week.
All right, the game's on CBS. So
well, it'll be very close. Right up to the end of the game. Right to the end of the 4th quarter, then, God, Tennessee will leak it out.
Let's go back to the scoreboard. Colorado, great road team, proves it again today against Missouri, 41-13. And Coy Detmer just had a huge day, 457 yards passing, 3 touchdowns.
That's a school record. I mean, Detmer's the guy that battled back from the concussion that he had a few weeks ago. He's one of those players that has so much talent on the outside. When he gets it to his receivers, they take his short arm and make it a long arm.
His brother Ty said, hey, maybe I can do that against Dallas tomorrow on Football Sunday. 41-13, the final there. Out in the ACC, North Carolina, NC State, they don't like each other at all. North Carolina wins the Battle of the State, 52-20. And Chris Keldorf, watch him scramble out of trouble here.
And North Carolina's one of the top 15 teams in the country because of this guy right here. They got a good defense, but Keldorf finds his receivers. He's got a big-time arm. Octavius Barnes for the touchdown. The top ACC passing team. Can you imagine that? This is a rushing university. They haven't led the ACC in passing since 1963.
Leon Johnson had 4 TDs for Carolina, 234 all-purpose yards as North Carolina part.
Well,
welcome to Florida Football Highlights with Steve Spurrier. Let's join Mick Hubert, the voice of the Gators, and University of Florida football coach Steve Spurrier.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for tuning us in today. I'm Mick Hubert, along with head coach Steve Spurrier, welcoming you to Florida Football Highlights. Their oldest rivalry renewed and the latest domination in the 90s restored. The Gators and the Dogs back in Jacksonville. New Gator Bowl, same old story. Florida 47 and Georgia 7. Steve, congratulations on a 7th straight victory over Georgia.
Thanks, Mick. Again, really tremendously proud of our entire team, coaches, players, equipment guys, trainers, everybody. We had a good week of practice last week. We went to Jacksonville really focused mentally into the game, and just really proud of the senior leadership, the captains that sort of set the mood of our team, and we were ready to play the Georgia Bulldogs. And like James Bates said, it's nice that he never lost to the Bulldogs, and that's something all of our seniors can say. But it was a game where, gosh, our guys they played like they've been playing. And really proud of them, the entire team, and hopefully we can keep going. We had a few injuries, you know. Jeff Mitchell got hurt. Willie Rogers hurt his knee a little bit. But obviously Mitch is our most serious injury, I think, in a long time, because it looks like he's out for the remainder of the regular season. Maybe by a bowl game he could get back. But again, just really proud of the entire team for coming to the ballpark really ready to play.
The Gator defense had 2 takeaways, which produced a couple of touchdowns, and I think in the pregame people were concerned about the Gators because at that point there was some concern about the depth on the defensive line.
Right. We certainly did not need any more injuries to the defensive line, although Willie Rogers strained his knee a little bit yesterday. But I think Mike Moten and Reggie McGrew played extremely well inside. And of course, Willie Rogers out there, and really all the other guys, the linebackers had excellent games, and we covered well. It was another very solid defensive game. They sort of got all their points running against some of our, I think some of our backup players were in there, but still, it was just an outstanding game defensively, and Danny Warfel, the receivers, the offensive line. Wiley Rich comes off the bench, third play of the game, I guess he went in. So it was nice to see some players that hadn't had a chance to play much really contribute when the game was on the line.
Final score, Florida 47 and Georgia 7. We'll go to Jacksonville to take a look at all the exciting highlights when we continue in just a moment.
Florida football highlights are brought to you by these great sponsors. First Union National Bank. When it comes to service, everything matters. Great Southern Wood, makers of Osmos pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it. Dairy Farmers Incorporated. Got milk? Dodge. The more things change, the more things look like the new Dodge. See your friendly Dodge dealer today. Bryan Foods, the flavor of the South.
Purple dropping back, looking, throwing all alone, a quarantine, and a touchdown for Tremaine Allen, the tight end. Oh, my.
The top-ranked Gators bulldoze the Bulldogs for the 7th straight year. When we return, the big plays from the showdown in Jackson. We're back with Mick Hubert and Coach Steve Spurrier.
Florida starts the season 8-0 for the 2nd straight time, and for the 3rd time ever on the banks of the St. Johns River in Jacksonville. Changing weather conditions, but all in all, pretty good day for football.
All right, Mick. You know, it was very windy in pregame warm-ups. We get out the start of the game, a little drizzle started, actually rained a little bit, but the wind died down, so it was an excellent night to play. First play of the game, Danny comes out of the pocket and finds Eli Williams. A little bit of a scramble play, excellent little play by Danny. Here's a little swing pass, and as you can see, Jeff Mitchell sort of got his his leg caught underneath himself somehow, just a freak thing that happened, and he broke a bone in his lower leg that will keep him out at least 6 weeks.
Lost in the fact that Danny Werfel became the passing leader at Florida.
Right, and here's Danny's interception. He thought Nafis was going to jump back in front of the defender for Georgia, but Nafis sort of went behind, and you know, sometimes those things happen. So we didn't score our first possession, but again, there was absolutely no panic. Those things are going to happen. Fortunately, they didn't happen, I guess, anymore the rest of this game. Quez got a nice punt return, good blocking for him, and their punter probably out-kicked their coverage a little bit. Here we are again, a little bit of a scramble play. Danny finds Terry Jackson behind him. We got Terry in there at fullback. He plays fullback, tailback, and outside linebacker. So he had some fun yesterday. And here's Fred Taylor on the sweep play, excellent blocking. Tremaine Allen, Jerome Evans over there, and our left tackle, Cooper Carlisle, who redshirt freshman, played just about the entire game there at left tackle.
Here's Tony George.
Right, Tony George playing his zone. We sort of zoned up this one right here. And he gets the interception to set us up for another quick score right here.
On the Emory and Henry.
Right, we've never dropped back and thrown the ball at Emory Henry, but we felt like we could sneak Riedel down the middle. And Riedel had an excellent game, Mick. I tell you what, 7 catches, almost 100 yards, all in the first half. And we took him out second half and let the other guys play. But Danny made a beautiful throw, and we got the right coverage against Emory and Henry, and we got a downfield touchdown pass. First time we've ever done that.
13-0 lead for the Gators, and here's a Georgia fumble.
Right, seems like they fumbled a handoff a couple of times. They've been doing this most of the year, and that's one reason their team's really struggling. Johnny Rutledge comes clean, gets back up, and gets him on the second go-around. Johnny's hustling, playing his heart out for the Gators, as all those players are out there. It's excellent protection here, and Danny buys a little time in the pocket, finds Travis McGriff. Travis got 2 or 3 catches yesterday and really played well for us.
This was a 9-play, 84-yard touchdown drive.
And here comes the crossing route to Riedel. As you can see, he's got a couple of Bulldogs chasing and pretty much wide open, and Danny throws it in there for our 3rd score.
Georgia put together a lengthy drive, 11 plays, 66 yards, but they get no points as the Gators made some key defensive stops.
Right, we had a couple of good 4th down stops. Here's one of them. And as you can see, James Bates had excellent coverage on their back out of the backfield. There's Mike Moten. He and Reggie McGrew really played well inside there. Anthony Mitchell played very well also. I think here was another 4th down well, actually the other one was 3rd and that was 4th that stopped the drive.
17 yards to Riedel.
Here was a 3rd and 10 play. I tell you what, we converted a lot of them yesterday, and certainly that's how those drives kept going. And here's Quezzy Green over the middle. Danny was waiting for this one, he said, so I never did send it in, so he audible to it on that play. And here he finds Tremaine Allen right down the middle wide open. Quezzy was running a corner route on the other side, and Tremaine down the middle, and I think they messed up their coverage, and we get Tremaine wide open for his first score of the year.
That was a 92-yard drive, and here's Willie Rogers with a key play.
Right, Willie Rogers, excellent player, and had a good game. Here's another one of those fumble handoffs by the Bulldogs. We get this one. Reggie McGrew comes out of the wad with it, and we're in excellent position for another score. There's Wiley Rich in there, number 59, Santa Fe High School. Wiley had a lot of fun yesterday, probably more fun than he's ever had as a Gator. We gave him a game ball for outstanding performance.
Great throw, 23 yards to Travis McGriff there.
Right, here's Danny on the fade route, and Quezzy made a beautiful play of not acting as if the ball wasn't there, and then at the last second putting his hands up and making the grab. So we get a nice lead there at halftime, 34-0.
In the 3rd quarter, after both teams traded punts, here's Georgia with the ball and Mike Moten with a key stop.
Right. Georgia pretty much said, hey, we need to run the ball and let's get out of here. And we sort of did the same thing with them there in the second half. But I tell you what, one of their players, number 20, Torrin Kurtzy, he came to the Gator Bowl to play. I was really impressed. Our team was impressed with the way that young man ran and his enthusiasm. And but fortunately, he didn't get the ball that many times, and we stopped him enough times.
That was a 4th and 3 stop as Johnny Rutledge chased down Bobo from the backside there, and the Gators take over at the 42-yard line.
Right, and again, Willie Rogers turned that play inside. I tell you what, Mick, it's really nice to see our defensive guys fundamentally in place all the time now. It seems like in years past we used to have quarterbacks roll out of the pocket and stand out there for 4 or 5 seconds, but our ends are really getting the containment that is so necessary. And here's Terry Jackson. Put him in at running back a little bit there in the second half. Actually, Fred Taylor bruised his thigh a little bit on that one run, and hopefully he's going to be all right, but he was a little sore yesterday.
Brian Schottenheimer at quarterback.
Yeah. Shotty floated this one out to Terry on about 3rd and 15. We get about 10 or 11 back, and Bart comes in. We had to settle for a couple of short field goals there in the 4th quarter.
First play of the 4th quarter, a 27-yard field goal to extend the Gator lead to 37-0. Gators will have the ball here on this sequence, a 3rd and 6 play.
And here's the draw play. Came out nicely again, and Eugene McCaslin made an excellent run. He makes another excellent run right here in a minute, and then stumbles on about the 5-yard line.
Doug Johnson at quarterback.
Yeah, Doug, he only got 2 throws. He was in there a couple of possessions. Jamie, not a great route by Jamie, but he did make the catch, and excellent throw by Doug. Really proud of the way Doug came in there and played. He was 2 for 2, and here goes Eugene. Good blocking downfield by the receivers. and he stumbled over the 5-yard line there. It's unlike Eugene, but and we had to settle for a field goal. We sort of messed up down there a little bit to make it 40-7.
Now the Gators will kick off as the crowd emptying out rapidly. Here's the Pizza Hut delivery of the game. Another fumble. Georgia last in the league in turnover margin.
Right. I see Tyrone Baker down there. John X. Snidus. Doc Pollard gets the fumble recovery. And we're down on about the 12-yard line. First play, we send Taurus Ross, our backup tight end, on a little drag route. Doug hits him nicely, and he takes it in for the score. First touchdown for Taurus. And our tight end coach, Lawson Holland, was certainly happy yesterday. Both of his first and second tight end got touchdown passes, first 2 of the year.
So the Gators win it 47-7. Another good balance on rushing and passing, and almost the average, 528 total yards.
All right, we were just about on our numbers, whatever they are, but again, the most important thing, obviously, is that our guys played well, played very well, and played with a lot of effort, enthusiasm, and again, we're still trying to get better and try to play a little bit better against Vandy this coming week. Hopefully we can get some guys back healthy and so forth, and take a strong team up to Nashville next Saturday.
It was the Gators' 19th consecutive SEC win and 21 in a row against Eastern Division opponents. We'll come right back and go inside Gator football when we continue in just a moment.
Florida Football Highlights is also brought to you by Golden Flake. It's where you find the flavor. AT&T Wireless, technology that sets you free. Toyota, I love what you do for me.
Success breeds confidence, and if you don't have the confidence when you line up against a receiver, then you beat already. So that's one of the main things you have along with ability, but confidence, that's what a DB really means.
Next, Steve Babbitt takes you inside Gator football with the defense's quiet man on the corner. Welcome back to Florida Football Highlights.
From his trying times as a rookie cornerback, he became All-SEC. He certainly learned a lot. Senior Anthony Lott returned to his hometown of Jacksonville, and he leads the Gator secondary, as we see in this edition of Inside Gator Football.
Canal is short drop, looking to throw the deep ball down the field toward Cooper. Lott is defending him, and Lott has intercepted the ball. Anthony Lott, straight coming out of the end zone. He's bringing it out. The 5, the 10.
1995 was a very good year for Florida football and for Anthony Lott, who had his best season as a Gator, as he was a unanimous All-SEC first-team selection. He had come a very long way from his rookie year in 1993, a season of survival.
It was a lot of fun. Anytime you're not doing so well, I mean, you start having self-doubts about your ability and what you're doing, but you know, you have to push through it, because adversity, if you get through adversity, then you'll become a much stronger person. After the Tennessee game, I felt like I had a lot to prove, and each week I wanted to go out and try to get better, and it just disproved the perceptions everyone had of me after that game.
It was also that same 1993 season that saw Anthony Lott signal for one of the most important timeouts ever called in Florida football history.
Gators call timeout. Gators call timeout. This play does not count. It does not count.
It was just a heads-up play, I guess. I seen the coaches trying to signal for a timeout because we didn't have enough people on the field. I seen them trying to get someone on the field, so I just turned to the official and called a timeout. I mean, it wasn't much about that play. The Georgia fans, they were really upset, and our fans, they were just happy and just glad that I was able to call that timeout.
Anthony, it seems so life as a defensive back could be equated to like being on an island all alone. Your description is life as a DB.
I mean, it's just you and the wide receiver all out there by your lonesome, and it's a win-lose situation. I mean, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. And if you step up there and have any self-doubt in your mind, you're going to lose. But if you come up there with confidence like you're supposed to, then you're going to win.
Anthony Lott is an All-American candidate and will be considered for the Jim Thorpe Award. But what he wants to be remembered for as a Gator is very simple.
But I was just a consistent player who enjoyed playing in front of this great crowd. I mean, every time I get a chance to come out here, I want to do my best, and I just want people to remember that he just loved playing the game.
Anthony Lott survived that 1993 Tennessee game and season because he took it on as only the best at his position would, man-to-man. For Inside Gator Football, I'm Steve Babick.
Great development from Anthony Lott.
Certainly, Mick. He's a four-year starter here at the University of Florida. Very valuable player in all the championships we've won. And gosh, what a good cover man, defensive back, good hitter, solid player, voted captain by his teammates. In fact, yesterday they all wanted Anthony to go out for the pregame coin toss, and he was our only captain out there. And I asked Danny, and he said, we want Anthony to do it here in Jacksonville.
Some exciting plays we'll see in the highlight reel when we continue in just a moment.
Here again, Mick Hubert and Coach Steve Spurrier.
Some young Gators had to step up Saturday, while some veteran Gators got it going again, as we see in Movie Gallery highlight reel.
Off to Edwards, and he may have dropped the football again as it fell out, and the Gators may get this one. Second fumble today by the running back, Robert Edwards, and Reggie McGrew has recovered for Florida.
I just thought, the guys, had guys out, and the guys that were in there, picked up the tempo, and, just that's our main goal every week is, just, try to eliminate the run.
The snap to Bobo. He's back there in some trouble. Looks to throw, and it's intercepted. Picked off by the Gators at the 20-yard line. It was Tony George who picked it off right at the 20.
We knew we had a lot of guys out, and everybody kind of had to step it up, a little bit.
Werfel dropping back. He's looking in the end zone. He's throwing down the end zone. He's got a touchdown. Riddell Anthony again. Touchdown for Anthony.
Riddell is a phenomenal athlete, a great receiver, and I knew back in the summer that his work ethic, his attitude had really improved, and I was really hoping that he'd have a great year. And it doesn't always work out that way, but a lot of times the guys who work the hardest and do the things right really come in there and have a great year, and so we're really proud of Riddell.
There's the snap. Werfel on play action, dropping back, throwing over the middle. He's got McGriff at the 20. Travis McGriff the 15, and down at the 13-yard line. That's enough for a Gator first down. First down for the Gators.
It was definitely fun to go out today and be in a position to contribute with Ike being out. And, I think our whole receiving corps played good, and we stepped it up and, had a good day.
A toss back to Edwards, trying to run to the boundary, the 32-yard line to the 35, and again, Lawrence Wright comes up, puts a big hit on him at the 36-yard line.
Well, we feel proud about it, but, they got to continue the tradition of coming out and playing well, no matter where we play at. So that's going to help the other guys behind us continue to have success against them and just continue to stay after the Georgia.
2nd and 7 for the Gators, the dog 11, a short drop, Werfel throwing the fade, down right side, end zone, touchdown, Quez Green, oh my, they got him a touchdown.
So a big win for Florida at Georgia, and now a big game at Vanderbilt this week.
Right, Mick, we've got an opportunity to clinch the Eastern Division up at Vandy this week, and that's one of our first goals of the season is try to win our division. If we can do that, we're going to have a chance to play for the SEC Championship in Atlanta in December.
Steve, again, congratulations. Big win for the Gators against the Bulldogs. We invite you to join us Thursday night at 6:30 for another edition of Gator Hotline. It'll be simulcast on Sunshine Network as well as the Gator Radio Network. And then next Saturday, the pregame showtime, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Florida at Vanderbilt. That's our show for this week. Thanks for being with us. For Coach Steve Spurrier, I'm Mick Hubert. So long, everybody.
National Car Rental, the official rental agency of the Florida Gators.
Thanks for being with us, and I hope you've enjoyed today's show. I'd like to thank our wonderful major sponsors who make this show possible. First Union National Bank, Dairy Farmers Incorporated, Great Southern Wood, your friendly Dodge dealer, and Bryan Foods. Join me next time for Florida football.